days while you shop for a home, and a no refi rate drop. That gives you peace of mind knowing you can buy now, and if interest rates fall, you could decrease your rate without having to refinance for only a small $250 fee. Navy Federal's new home buying center is solutions for every step of the home buying process. Learn more at NavyFederal.org. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Navy Federal is insured by NCUA. Equal housing lender. Membership required. Terms and conditions apply. Loan subject to approval and eligibility requirements. Call 1-888-842-6328 for details about credit costs.
This is Jim Rome with a Sports Minute. Of the 201 coaches in NFL history with 50-plus games under their belt, Bob Saleh's win percentage is 183rd. He had a worse win percentage as the Jets head coach than Todd Bowles, Rex Ryan, Eric Mangini, and Herm Edwards, none of whom were better than 500. So whereas it may seem shocking, it's anything but. I'm Jim Rome.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
All right, gentlemen, this is Emmett Smith on behalf of Depend, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing catch. Because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable, and one blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, Depend is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, Depend is donating 40 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for Depend Shield Guards Real Fit products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $300,000 void in Mississippi.
We get you so close to the action at McHale, it feels like Wilbur and Wilma are in the car with you. This is the home of Arizona men's basketball. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
You okay?
Sorry, I can't sleep with this cough.
Sounds like you need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with NyQuil VapoCool. It's NyQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
So you ready to get some sleep? Thank you, NyQuil VapoCool.
NyQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing nighttime coughing, aching, fever, best sleep with a cold medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
The time for holiday hosting is upon us, so make your second bathroom second to none with HomeDepot.com's best savings of the season. Right now, enjoy up to 40% off select online bath. Find the latest on-trend styles of vanities, faucets, showers, tubs, toilets, and more, all at prices that will let your budget relax right along with you and your beautifully renovated bath. Get up to 40% off select online bath plus free delivery at the Home Depot. Subject to availability, see HomeDepot.com/delivery for details.
Bear down, Arizona, as your Arizona Wildcats are back in action this Saturday to take on BYU. Kickoffs at 1 p.m. with pregame coverage starting bright and early at 8:30 a.m. Catch all the action on Wildcats Radio 1290.
Bingo. All right, Bill, we're recording now. And please put your phone on silent.
Oh, where is my phone?
Let's go, man. Okay. Get it together over there, player. Go ahead. Pick on me the way that you want to.
I wouldn't say that to my son.
Just go.
All right, why would people want to listen to the Sims Complete podcast?
Father-son dynamic duo talking about the game of football.
We do a lot of quarterback and coach talks. It's fun. I love doing this. It's been awesome.
Sims Complete. Check us out on the Believe Network. Appreciate it.
Just search Believe, BLEAV, wherever you listen.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. You're listening to the home of Jim Rome, Rich Eisen, and DK on the Sports Tip. This is Wildcats Radio 1290. Live from the CNWT.
Wait, what's the CNWT? Central Northwest Tucson. Duh.
It's DK on the Sports Tip with your host, David Kelly.
Radio. Just when I thought I was out, they drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
David Amata.
Hey, that's Dragon Ball to you.
And Cricket getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but three first names, David Scott Kelly.
Would you believe
that the hockey season starts tonight in the NHL. Just kind of sneaks up on you. Guess who's on the docket for night number one? That team formerly known as the Arizona Coyotes are playing tonight in their first ever game in Salt Lake City. They'll take on the Chicago Blackhawks. I would imagine the Delta Center, the 20,000 seat facility where the Utah Hockey Club will play. I would imagine it will not be 60 to 70% Chicago Blackhawks fans. That's the one major thing I think that'll be different about this situation in Salt Lake City versus the situation in Phoenix. There aren't a whole lot of people from the Midwest relocating to Salt Lake City to live, as there are relocating to the desert to live. So I don't think you're going to see thousands of Detroit Red Wings fans, thousands of Chicago Blackhawks fans, thousands of New York Rangers fans, thousands of name any team in the original six. Philadelphia Flyers, because those people just don't live in Salt Lake City. They live in Phoenix. A lot of them live here in Tucson. But they don't live in Salt Lake City. So that new franchise will likely have a pretty nice home field advantage, home ice advantage, when they take that ice at the Delta Center this season. And it starts tonight. Coyotes, of course, made the decision earlier this year when the franchise was sold to the Smith family in Salt Lake City to relocate to that venue and that town after playing 2 seasons at the Mullet Arena on the campus of Arizona State University. So maybe we ask, is this the year? Well, again, we don't even know if we're going to follow this team. Well, we kind of have to because it's still the parent club. Even though there's a lot of animosity, they still are the parent club of our team here in Tucson, the Roadrunners. So we have to somewhat pay attention to what's going on in Salt Lake City. A lot of the players that are there tonight, maybe not a lot, but some of them, as we have come to know with this relationship, some of the guys that are on the roster tonight for opening night may end up here in Tucson at some point this season. Some of the guys who are on Tucson's roster for opening night this coming Friday in Colorado are going to end up in Salt Lake City at some point this season. So for that, we have to at least pay attention to what is happening with the Utah Hockey Club as they start their new life tonight at 7 o'clock on national TV, ESPN, against the Chicago Blackhawks. Will you be watching is the question. 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. 36 wins last year. They were on pace to finally get above. Remember we asked this question a year ago? Will the Coyotes win 40 games for the first time in forever? And they were kind of on pace to do that. And then when everything started swirling around the future of the club, the bottom kind of fell out with a 14-game losing streak in January. Will this be the year that this franchise wins 40 for the first time since what? I think it was 11-12 or 12-13 was the last time the franchise won 40. From Winnipeg to Phoenix and now to Salt Lake City. Welcome to this new age in the NHL. They actually had to send out stuff, like some of the newspapers were putting out who are the Utah Hockey Club, so people knew who they were. Like, okay, you can't just say they're the ex-Arizona Coyotes and people don't already know that. It's the same players, it's the same ownership, same general manager, same head coach, just a different name on the jersey that it was the last, 30 years or at least however long they've been Arizona versus Phoenix. So that's where we are with the start of the hockey season tonight. 3 games on the docket. A new year begins. The NBA will not be too far behind. What do we got tonight? In fact, we've got 1 game already in progress. Wow, they started early in Seattle. That's interesting. Seattle leading St. Louis 2-1. That's the first of the 3 games on the docket. Actually, all 3 of these games are on ESPN. Maybe that's why they've staggered the starts on these games. The second game will be Boston at Florida. We've got a 5-star play from BetQL on that we'll tell you about here before that game faces off here at the top of the hour, 4 o'clock. And then at 7, Chicago and Utah. Excited about the start of hockey there, J-Dub? I don't know if I'm hearing you. I'm not sure if I'm hearing J-Dub. I know his mic was on over there. 520-848-1290. 520. We have been having some technical difficulties today, so please bear with us as we continue to work through those as the show goes on. I'll tell you a little bit about what we've got coming up for you on today's show. We're going to chat with Riata Danoff, one of the outstanding cross-country runners for the Pima Aztec. She won the ACC AC Conference Championship this past weekend. We'll dive into football, Arizona Wildcats football. As always, it is Wildcat Breakdown on Tuesday. Glenn Howe will join us. We will talk to him around 5:20, get his thoughts after reviewing the tape on what happened to the Arizona Wildcats in their 28-22 loss to the Texas Tech Red Raiders. And Riata Danoff will join us coming up later this hour at around 3:40. We'll chat with her. Also, we had a chance for the first time since the change in play calling duties to hear from Matt Atkins, the tight ends coach and passing game coordinator for your Arizona Wildcats. He spoke today. We will let you hear that coming up straight ahead as well. We'll probably set that for sometime in the 4 o'clock hour. I'd say around 4:20. We'll let you hear from Matt Atkins today and his thoughts on the new role that he shares now and how that became about and how he hopes to move this offense, which has now somewhat struggled for 3+ games forward as the Wildcats head into Brigham Young this weekend for a game which we did not mention yesterday, but big noon kickoff is coming to Provo, Utah this weekend. That's Fox version of game day. So the whole crew will be there. I'm not even sure who's on that crew. I think it's a couple of former USC Trojans. Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush are on it. I think Urban Meyer is on that. I don't really watch big noon kickoffs, so you can probably tell me better who's on that roster. But they'll be in Provo this weekend for the game, which obviously for a second straight week will air on Fox TV. Our coverage will begin at 8:30 in the morning on Saturday with Arizona Game Day, Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day, and kickoff at 1 o'clock, back-to-back 1 o'clock games this Saturday against BYU, next Saturday against Colorado. All right, 520-848-1290. We were talking a little bit about the NHL kicking off tonight. The season underway already. St. Louis and Seattle playing out on the West Coast, nearing the end of the second period. Looks like St. Louis just scored a goal, so that game is now 2-2. Boston and Florida to follow, and then Chicago at Utah. Andre Tourigny, still the head coach. He coached the Coyotes last year. He'll coach the Utah Hockey Club this year. I mentioned 36-41-5 was the record last year for the Arizona Coyotes. Most points, 77 in 5 seasons. And the general manager, still Bill Armstrong, has high expectations for this group. He said this week it's a very young group, We're in the 4th year of the rebuild, but what I can tell you is it's an exciting team. Clayton Keller was named the captain, as you might imagine that he would have been. Clayton was one of the best players on the squad last year. He has put together, in fact, 2 really impressive back-to-back seasons. 86 points last year for the 26-year-old forward. He had 37 goals, 49 assists, and then that was coming off the year prior, 22-23, when he had 76 points, 33 goals, and 43 assists. So he upped his goal total last year by 4, his assist total by 6. Clayton Keller. And again, they'll play the Blackhawks tonight. The Blackhawks, who have not been very good as of late after their string of success mid-last decade. They finished 6th in the Central. In fact, they finished 6th in the Central in each of the past 7 seasons. So a long stretch of not-so-great play in Chicago since they had those really good runs in the early 2010s. So Chicago and Utah tonight. The Blackhawks, of course, their offense revolves around Connor Bedard. He was the number 1 pick just last year, 2023. His first season, 61 points in 68 games, 22 goals, 39 assists. They are obviously hoping that Connor Bedard can take them back to the glory that they once saw earlier in this century. All right, we are still working on J-Dub's mic over there. We hope we can hear from the gentleman sitting across from me right now, and that is none other than David Amata, who's in for cricket. Say something, David, so the people can know they can hear you.
Well, you can still certainly hear me, and you're talking about hockey, which makes me excited because the season comes up soon.
So this comes up soon. It's already started. We've got.
Well, for me, it doesn't start till tomorrow.
Well, okay. So is that when the Penguins play tomorrow?
Penguins play the Rangers tomorrow.
Okay, so they'll open against the Rangers.
Already with a very
so
good
your early thoughts
matchup.
Then we got St. Louis and Seattle going on right now, 2-2 in the second period. We've got Boston and Florida coming up after that. All these games will be on national tonight. And then we've got Chicago and Utah. I don't know, how do you feel about this Utah? You weren't here earlier in the year when we went through this, when we kind of had the funeral for NHL hockey here in Arizona. But how are you feeling about this whole Utah thing?
Well, I certainly don't know if we talked a little bit about the uniforms. I certainly think that they could have done better with a little bit more of a graphic design aspect of the Utah jerseys. However, the main thing to go ahead and take into account is the Utah game is the nightcap for the national games, is it not?
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm.
I would not have done that. Not for those two teams. I'm sorry. I know that the Chicago Blackhawks has a lot of promise with Connor Bedard going into this season. I know that the Utah hockey inaugural season is a big deal for the NHL because they need this one to work. It can't have just been the franchise that wasn't working. It had to be the location, right? It had to be the location that was not working. If Utah ends up struggling out of the gate, too, for the next 2 to 3 years, then it's like, okay, maybe the franchise is just cursed. Then we need to fold it. I don't know. But because of that, I don't know if that would be the nightcap I'd pick. I'd probably take the Bruins and the Panthers as your nightcap for the opening night. But that being said, it was not even technically.
Well, this whole schedule's messed up.
Yeah.
I mean, they got the West Coast game first. You got the East Coast game second. And then you're coming back to the West. That why wouldn't Boston and Florida? Because they didn't want to play Boston and Florida early. No. More people are going to watch that game than any of these other 2 games.
Right. Well, what you're saying though is that Gary Bettman would be the biggest friend to University of Arizona football fans because he would put our game on before the Clemson and the ACC games and things like that. But nonetheless, it's just a situation of that. Last game between Chicago and Utah, I don't imagine it would be that entertaining compared to the Panthers and the Bruins as your second game of the night. And technically, you already had the season start like about a week. I think it was last weekend when you had the Prague series between the Devils and the Buffalo Sabres.
Yeah,
that was an interesting.
Those were regular. So we actually have had regular season games already. So
I was not even aware of that in Prague.
Okay. So, and the Devils won both of those, it looks
yes,
like.
they did.
Yeah, all right. So does that mean that that Buffalo is, again, not going to be very good this year?
I'd imagine they're probably going to be on the outside looking in once the playoff season starts. They might be looking at a top 5 pick this year. They have not really done a whole lot to go ahead and improve the roster going into this season.
Who's your champion?
It's way too early for me to answer that, DK. It's way too early. You always have to wait
Who's
to make a pick.
Who's your favorite then?
Oh, my favorite's the Penguins. I gotta love my chances.
Well, that's your okay.
I gotta love my chances.
Right,
I got
that's
Sydney
coming
in
from the
beginning.
heart, not from the actual brain.
That's my point. Is that you can't make an educated guess about who's your champion until after the trade deadline in the NHL, because a team can be dead in the water, still be in position, make one deal, and all of a sudden, boom, the door is wide open.
Right,
I've seen it too many times to make a guess at the early part of the
season.
season.
Does Utah win 40 games this year?
I think they probably win maybe 32. I give
they
them
won
32.
36 last year. This is supposed to be a better team. I mean, you got the same guys back.
I think they're going to win 32.
You don't think they're going to be better than last year? Wow. Okay.
It's a majority of the same guys from last year, DK. And what's the one thing that we always learn in sports is that if you stand pat, you're straggling behind other teams that are improving.
All right.
Particularly in the West.
All right, very good. Well, we'll follow up on that a little bit later in the show after this first game is over and we get into the other game. In fact, I've got a 5-star best bet. I'll tell you what the 5-star play for that second game is from the BetQL folks.
I'm not looking forward to that.
There you go. Well, hey, they 8 of 9, David. 8 of 9 wins over the weekend.
I think they're turning it around.
We had only one loss, and that was the Patriots. The Miami Patriots -1 was the only loss this weekend. So we had 8 winners out of 9, including the 2 last night. -5, Chiefs -5, and Kamara to have over 30 yards receiving. He had 40.
Okay, there you go.
So there you go.
Turning it around.
All right. Turning it on the roads to make sure you get home is none other than Dragon Ball for Cricket.
Again, from the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together. Some accidents to watch out right now. North Alberton Way and East Pima Street. East of Catalina High, we've got an accident with possible injuries. This could be slowing up the traffic over there. Also, East Speedway Boulevard and North 6th Avenue. This is east of Anza Park, slowing things down at the intersection there. 102-degree temperatures right now, but we're going to be dropping down to the mid-90s by 6 o'clock. So just try to survive until 6 there if you can. I'm Dragon Ball with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Their end-to-end solution helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all year round. Schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from your Indeed dashboard. Learn more by visiting Indeed.com/credit.
Hey, it's Rich Eisen here. Tune in each weekday from noon to 3 p.m. for The Rich Eisen Show, right here on Tucson's home of Arizona Wildcats football.
Touchdown, Arizona!
And the National Football League. Wildcats Radio, 1290.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rocking K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. In the top-rated Vail School District, Rocking K is close to work, shopping, and services. Tour 18 model homes by top-tier builders, offering move-in ready homes and special incentives. LiveRockingK.com. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
For 100 years, O'Reilly Chevrolet has been part of the fabric of Tucson, just as our Chevy trucks are part of the fabric of America. With that in mind, we're proud to announce it's officially truck season. And this year we have Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, the all-new Chevy Colorado. Test drive your new Chevy truck on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or check out our entire lineup at O'Reilly.com. Don't miss truck season, going on now at O'Reilly Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Tune in to DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290 Thursday afternoons to compete in the Miller Lite Pigskin Challenge, where you can win money by placing a bet on the right team this football season. More info at wildcatsradio1290.com.
Hey homeowners, are you ready to chill out and go green? Goodfellas Air Conditioning can help. Introducing our latest lineup of energy-efficient systems featuring the new R32 refrigerant. It's cooler, greener, and better for the planet. You'll enjoy lower energy bills and a smaller carbon footprint. Not a fan of change? Goodfellas has a surplus of reliable R410 systems available. Unsure about what system you have or have questions? Give us a call for a free inspection. Goodfellas Air Conditioning, keeping it cool, keeping it green, and always keeping you comfortable.
Have I told you about QC Kinetics? I know I have, because you don't have to keep living with that joint pain. Hey, it's David Kelly from Wildcats Radio 1290. Real lasting relief is possible with the help from QC Kinetics. People here are getting their lives back, getting their mobility back, thanks to QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in cellular therapies that can revitalize your joints. I'm talking back pain, shoulder pain, knee pain. These are cutting-edge treatments that require no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. These protocols have been developed by medical professionals.
For all the latest news from Arizona Stadium, McHale Center, and High Corbin Field, make sure to like us on Facebook at Wildcats 1290. This is the exclusive home of Arizona Athletics. Wildcats Radio 1290.
This is Jim Rome with your Rome Report. Crazy Tuesday morning. Here I was thinking that I would bust out like I do every single Tuesday morning and recap Monday Night Football. Little did I know that the Robert Receipts era in New York was about to come to a crashing and abrupt end. But that's right, Bob Saleh out, relieved of his duties after, well, let's face it, pretty horrendous stint of leading the JETS. And as shocking as that news may seem to be, how shocking is it really? Take this for data. Of the 201 coaches in NFL history with 50-plus games under their belt, Bob Saleh's win percentage is 183rd. He had a worse win percentage as the Jets head coach than Todd Bowles, Rex Ryan, Eric Mangini, and Herm Edwards, none of whom were better than 500, but all of whom had a better record than Saleh. So whereas it may seem shocking, it's anything but.
Need a little help? O'Reilly Auto Parts can help. Need advice? We've got advice. No matter what you need, we have thousands of professional parts people doing their part to make sure you have it. Exceptional customer service. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
All right, gentlemen, this is Emmitt Smith on behalf of Depend, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing catch. Because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable, and one blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, Depend is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, Depend is donating 40 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for Depend Shield Guards, RealFit products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $300,000 void in Mississippi.
Have I told you about QC Kinetics? I know I have, because you don't have to keep living with that joint pain. Hey, it's David Kelly from Wildcats Radio 1290. Real lasting relief is possible with the help from QC Kinetics. People here are getting their lives back, getting their mobility back, thanks to QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in cellular therapies that can revitalize your joints. I'm talking back pain, shoulder pain, knee pain. These are cutting-edge treatments that require no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. These protocols have been developed by medical professionals and under the leadership of Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, a former orthopedic surgeon and a pioneer in clinical regenerative medicine. Call QC Kinetics today for a free consultation. 2 locations here in Southern Arizona, off of Academy, off of Orange Grove. Call QC Kinetics now, 520-497-4955. That's 520-497-4955. QC Kinetics.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. 520-848-1290. You can call us at that number. You can text us at that number. Riata Danoff is going to be joining us coming up later in the hour. We'll talk some running with her. She is an outstanding cross-country and distance runner up at Pima College. So we'll get, she's out of Ironwood Ridge High School. So local product is Riata. So looking forward to talking to her about her latest exploits on the golf courses of Arizona, as she claimed the ACC Division I title last weekend with a time in the 5K race of 19 minutes and 4 seconds. So we'll talk to Riata about that straight ahead. Also, we've got some Arizona Wildcat football talk, as we always do. Glenn Howe will join us at 5:20. Wildcat Breakdown. We'll dive into the X's and the O's. Got a chance to finish watching the tape of Saturday's game. Few things that kind of stood out to me in terms of, we talked a little bit about Noah Fafita and some of the things that are happening with him. And my big two things in terms of this offense right now is, one, I don't think they're giving Noah enough short routes for him to be successful, which they need to do more of. But two, when they do give him short routes, he has to be able to see those routes and take those routes, because it's a double-edged sword. There are times they're not giving him those short options, especially in like 3rd and 4 to 7 situations where not everybody should be running a 15-yard route or a 10-plus yard route, and give me somebody that's kind of at the sticks. Give him, not me, I don't throw the ball. Give Noah some guys that are at the sticks in those situations. But also in reviewing the second half, I think Noah needs to be more patient. There are times when he is committing so early on his passes that he's not even really allowing some of these other receivers to get out of their routes, to even complete their routes. And that's part of the issue is, one, these routes are so long that there are lots of times he's already made a decision that I'm going to one person. And we heard Brent Brennan say yesterday that Noah needs to go through his progressions, but he can't do that. Or either he can't do that or he's not choosing to do that because he's made his decision already before several of those routes are even completed. So I do think that there's instances, too, where he needs to be more patient. And so we'll dive into that with Glenn Howe coming up in about 2 hours when we get to breakdown. We'll get his thoughts on everything that he's seen. Interesting story, I don't know if you heard this, that came out of the broadcast. The crew from Fox, I believe it was Connor Onion and Mark Helfrich, the former head coach. I believe he was at Oregon. Mark Helfrich was a former coach there. But in their meeting, in their pre-broadcast meeting with Brent Brennan, he shared 2 stories with them that I found fascinating. One, he said that after the Wildcats lost to Kansas State, he was at a gas station. He was stopping to get gas, and some guy on the other side of the gas station yelled over to him, "Hey, you stink." And then the broadcaster, I believe it was Connor Onion who was telling the story, went on to say the next week, after the Wildcats went up to Utah and beat the number 10 Utes, Brent was out jogging, likely in his neighborhood, and he said that there were 3 ladies kind of on the corner, and they stopped what they were doing and clapped for him as he jogged by. That shows you the depth, and he explained it, I guess, to the broadcast crew, is just the mountain of expectation that is on this team right now, where 1 week you lose and you go to the gas station and there's people saying that you stink, and the next week you get a big win and you're just out for a jog and people like recognize you and they stop and applaud. It's very much, it reminded me very much of the situation that Matt Campbell is dealing with in Detroit, where you lose a big game and all of a sudden some teenage social media influencer wants to dox you and tell everybody where you live, and now you got to go and find another place to live. It's, I was like, wow. Like, to think, again, I don't even know. See, I don't even know if that was, that if, that's not anything that would even, like, cross my mind to do if I was, I mean, granted, I work in this business, but even if I didn't, I can't imagine that I would, like, have the audacity to see a head coach out in public and tell them, have any type of negative reaction to that person if I wasn't unhappy with the team. I mean, I've lived in cities and you go out and you see people, but I can't imagine the mindset of the person who will actually say something negative to a professional athlete along those lines. That's just crazy to me. But apparently there are people out there who feel that it is their right, as maybe a paying customer or just a fan of the team, that they can do that.
Does my mic work now?
I think we can hear you, J-Dub. J-Dub is back and alive on the other side of the glass. Welcome to the program, J.W. Matt.
Mark Simpson was creating a giant, just to paint a picture for listeners out there, I have 7 monitors in front of me in my chair, and we were designing a new tower over here, and a cord got unplugged, apparently. I think it's like this, DK. I think you think about the last 20 years of social media, there may have been a time when there was a social element to that, to yelling out to some famous person that you happen to see across the road. And I think over time, people have done that consistently, whether they're trolling or just being a thorn in some famous person's side on Twitter or Instagram or any other avenue. That I think the idea of doing that in public and the shame, for lack of a better term, has gone out the window, right? Because people have lived a lifetime. People who've grown up, who've born in the last 25 years, have only ever known a world where you can reach out and touch celebrities. So that idea of something that maybe you and I wouldn't do, not to mention working in the industry. But I think my question is, where does San Jose State lie in the hierarchy of universities in the state of California?
Oh, not anywhere near the top.
10th, potentially? So
probably.
What I mean to say is that after the success of last year's Arizona football team, the number of people, and this is representing all of Southern Arizona, right? Everybody that's not affiliated with the school up north is going to be a de facto fan of the University of Arizona. So I think the attention you're going to have from fan bases, opponents and U of A fan bases alike, is going to be much greater in the role that Coach Brennan has this year than he may have had last year.
Yeah, it's, it's one thing to yell something at somebody in the field of the arena. Like if you're at a game and it's the opposing team and you don't like that player, I mean, there's over the top stuff to yell, but at least if you want to like try to antagonize visiting players and that kind of thing, yeah, that's one thing. But to do it at a gas station or a grocery store,
just to put it
or
simple,
a restaurant or something of that nature is it's
well, you just said it right there, restaurant. Simple terms, like if the team's coming off the field into the tunnel at halftime and you happen to have one of those seats that overlooks the tunnel and you say, "Coach, you suck," and yell it as loud as you can,
right?
That's an appropriate behavior for a fan base. If you walk over to the table that a coach and his family is sitting at to have a nice dinner and yell "you suck" in his face, that's what we're talking about, is taking that off the playing field and out into the general life. People just feel emboldened, I think, by their choices on social media, and now they're just, will yell whatever they want. That doxing thing, that was a high school classmate of the coach's daughter.
Coach's daughter.
Yeah, that situation, that's the scariest thing, is it was kind of innocuous. It wasn't as if he was trying, but because of the place that was posted on a Discord server and spread around, then all of a sudden everybody had access to his home address. So anybody who did care about a team starting out 2-3 or whatever and wanted to take their frustrations out on that head coach's house, they had the ability to do so. And that's really scary in public life.
Just remind you ever see the movie All the Right Moves?
I don't know. Refresh my memory.
So that was it was Tom Cruise played a high school football player in suburban Pittsburgh or Steeltown, Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And, they lose a big game and they're riding around and they go by the coach's house and they like empty his garbage cans on his lawn. Every time I think about what happened to Matt Campbell, it reminds me of that movie where they went to the coach's house and they were mad because they lost the game. And that's just, that's not stuff that needs to be happening. You don't need to be yelling at the head coach in a parking lot that he stinks.
Yeah. I think, you write a letter that you're angry at somebody about, you sleep on it, right? You don't send it that night. You wait until the next morning and look at it again with a clear head. I think the idea of taking the anger and vitriol you have towards a team maybe not performing on the field and just take it out into your everyday life and throw it at the coach. I think that there's constructive ways these days to get at coaches and to let them know how you feel about it. But, yeah, that's not it.
520-848-1290. We're going to talk some cross-country. Rihanna Danoff is going to join us. Danoff from Pima College. She is a winner in the ACC in the 5K at the conference meet or the league meet. We'll talk to her about that. She went to Ironwood Ridge. DK on the sports tip. Dragon Ball getting you home every 20 minutes on the 5s with your traffic and your weather.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together, sponsored by O'Reilly Chevrolet. Crash over at West Silver Lake Road and Mission Road right now, just south of A Mountain, slowing things down if you're trying to get up to A Mountain today. Also, one at West Ina and North Mona Lisa, causing some slowdowns going north. As for your weather, 102 degrees right now, but we are cooling down to the mid-80s later tonight. I'm Dragon Ball with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together.
This report is sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone. Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Well, look at this. If you see us for all the details, we'll tell you how you can get up to $9,000 off a 2024 Silverado 1500. That's right. It's truck season at O'Reilly Chevrolet.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Hey, Wildcat fans, Arizona football is here. Catch head coach Brent Brennan as the Wildcats enter their inaugural season of the Big 12 Conference. We need you to be part of the action, filling the stands and cheering on Arizona. Secure your seats for all 7 home games with season tickets, or pick the plan that is best for you by calling the ticket office at 520-621-2287 or visiting ArizonaWildcats.com/FB. Lock in your tickets today. We'll see you at Arizona Stadium. Bear down. Go Cats.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair.
My drains are clogged again. What should I do? Don't let those clogged drains scare you. Picturox Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing has a $79 drain and faucet diagnostic service special. We'll get you back in the flow. Call us at 520-492-0748 or picturoxcooling.com.
Picturox Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
The time for holiday hosting is upon us, so make your second bathroom second to none with HomeDepot.com's best savings of the season. Right now, enjoy up to 40% off select online bath. Find the latest on-trend styles of vanities, faucets, showers, tubs, toilets, and more, all at prices that will let your budget relax right along with you and your beautifully renovated bath. Get up to 40% off select online bath plus free delivery at the Home Depot. Subject to availability, see HomeDepot.com/delivery for details.
Kevin Kugler here from Westwood One. Join me along with Super Bowl player and head coach Ron Rivera for Thursday Night Football this week when Geno Smith and the Seahawks host Brock Purdy and the San Francisco 49ers. It's Seattle's first NFC West game of the season, while the 49ers are looking for their first division win in 3 tries. Don't miss any of the action coming up on Thursday Night Football.
Coverage begins at 4:30 on your home for the NFL, Wildcats Radio 1290.
Is he okay?
Ron, did you get hit on the head?
What? Oh, no. I was just reminiscing. Here comes a story. I was 5 or 6. A scruffy little ragamuffin, I was. A scruffy? What are you, Charles Dickens? Mama just wanted to comfort me.
Mama?
Comfort. It's why we started Alaskan AC, you know?
We know.
I was being a fuss budget. Golly, I was a scoundrel. Get to the point. These were the early days at Alaskan AC, see?
See.
It's a fun place to work at Alaskan AC. Ron. We don't take ourselves too seriously.
We literally just came up with the new Alaskan AC jingle last month.
What? Who's that? Who's there? Is it you, Mama? Oh, boy.
Yes, Ronnie, it's Mama.
Did your little Ron Bon make you proud?
Every day, dear.
Why did I even come to work today? Because...
It's a fun place to work at Alaskan AC. We don't take ourselves too serious.
But I still couldn't ride for weeks. The insurance company tried hammering me into a quick settlement. No way. I gave them the bird, the eagle. Goldberg and Osborne. Nobody knows Arizona like the eagle. Phoenix to Tucson, Flagstaff to Havasu, and every bit of blacktop in between. Wherever you go, the eagle is there. So if you've been injured, don't wait. Give the insurance company the bird.
Give them the bird. Call the Eagle. Goldberg and Osborne. 1-800-THE-EAGLE.
This is Jim Rome with a Sports Minute, sponsored by WeatherGuard Truck and Van Equipment. They're just as driven as the hardworking pros they serve. Well, it certainly was another great night for Kansas City, right? For Royals fan, what's going down right now has got to be pretty unexpected and pretty unbelievable. Meantime, for Chiefs fan, this is all totally expected and incredibly believable. I'm Jim Rome.
For more than half a century, contractors and trade professionals have relied on WeatherGuard for heavy-duty truck and van storage equipment, not just to protect their valuable tools, but to protect their professional reputations. For pros, the WeatherGuard badge makes a statement about what drives them. It says, "Bring it on. Been there. Done that. We've got your back," without saying a word. And the folks at WeatherGuard, they're just as driven as the hardworking pros they serve. See what it means to be driven at WeatherGuard.com.
1 in 4 Americans have a disability. I'm one of them. I'm also a working mom who cares deeply about making sure every child with a disability thrives by getting their access needs met. We've got a trusted ally by our side. Easter Seals provides children and families the foundation for lifelong success through early learning programs, skills training, and prep for college and career. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Join us at easterseals.com.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. You can call us at that number. You can text us at that number. We'll talk some Arizona football coming up at 5:20. It's Wildcat Breakdown. Glenn Howe joins me. We will dive into the dissection of the tape after the Wildcats' 28-22 loss to Texas Tech. But right now, we are going to talk some running on the golf courses of Arizona, cross country, as we like to call it. And we're pleased to be joined by Ariada Danhoff. She is a distance runner at Pima College. She won the ACCAC Division I individual crown at the conference's cross country meet a couple of weekends ago. And Ariada is out of Ironwood Ridge High School. And first of all, Ariada, congratulations on winning that race, and then you turned around and won again this past weekend. So 2 wins in a row. I imagine things are kind of going on all cylinders right now for you.
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, it's been so fun just kind of walking around campus. And a lot of people are like, oh, my goodness, like, I read about you. You won that race, right? And so it's been so much fun.
And you mentioned that, is it kind of like high school when you win something big and you go around and kids are like, oh, wow, or is it more even more impressive when you're in college that happens?
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely more impressive in college because some of these people I don't even know, and they're coming up to me and like recognizing me. Whereas high school, I would kind of already know people, so it's been really fun. Yeah.
You obviously ran at Ironwood Ridge High School. What was your success level like in high school in terms of like state competitions and whatnot?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I had some success my freshman year, and then was kind of taken out for my sophomore year due to injury, and then came back junior year, and that was kind of a makeup year. But then my senior year, that's when it was kind of PR after PR, and I had medaled in all of my invitationals, and then made it to state, and then medaled in my state race. For cross country, so it was really fun. It was really good.
What do you think was the difference for you junior to senior year in high school? Why you were able to make that dramatic jump?
Yeah, I think I definitely realized like, okay, this is what I want to do. I definitely want to make it to the next level. Whereas my junior year, I was kind of like, this is fun. I'm just kind of doing this. Yeah. But then senior year, I definitely like, okay, I'm serious about this, and started focusing more on hydration and stretching and what I was eating and just like my sleeping. And so, yeah, it was good.
Brianna Danoff is joining us, Pima College cross country out of Ironwood Ridge High School. When you say it kind of clicked that maybe you would want to do this at the next level, was there something like, was it maybe when you had that first piece of success that kind of maybe triggered that, man, if I really, put my heart to this, that I could maybe go somewhere with this? What do you think was really the thing that kind of triggered that for you, that desire to want to try to reach into the college level as a runner?
Yeah, definitely. I think, just kind of tasting that little bit of success, and I was like, man, like I am capable of doing so much more. And then I think too, just the support that I got at home. My mom and dad for sure are super, super supportive, and were just kind of encouraging me to keep pressing and to see what I am capable of. And so, yeah, and then just kind of the support with my coaches as well, and just kind of getting random schools too asking me to come run for them. I was like, oh my goodness, like this is crazy. So that definitely sparked something too.
Okay, so then why Pima? What was it about Pima's program, and was it more so you wanted to kind of maybe stay close to home initially and kind of see what the college level was like first before maybe going off away somewhere?
Yeah, for sure. So I have the opportunity to live at home by going to Pima, and so that is always a plus. I'm super close with family. And then, I was offered a full ride academic-wise and athletic-wise, so I was actually, like, getting money to go to Pima, which is definitely a plus. And then I came for a visit here and just really liked the team atmosphere and the coaches here, and just kind of seen the success that Pima has had in the past, and was just super excited to be a part of it.
Brianna Danoff is joining us. She won the ACCAC Division I race 2 weeks ago in Glendale, and then last week took the Vaquero Campy Invitational over at Central Arizona, and you knocked some time off from that race 2 weeks ago. I think you were 1904 to win the title, and then 1848 last weekend. So what's the difference? Like, what allowed you to make such a big change there in the time?
Yeah, honestly, I was kind of surprised myself because we had tapered the week of the championships, and then the week of Campy, we're up in mileage. I had 2 hard workouts that week, so I was going in with tired legs. But then I think just going into the race, I was like, you know what, like I'm just going to have fun with it, and just kind of took it out and realized I was feeling really good, so kind of just kept pushing it.
So what's your regimen like when you get there on race day? Like, what do you do to kind of get your mind right, to get yourself in that mode to run? And then when you're in it, are you right out of the gate fast? Do you pace yourself and then try to sprint at the end? How do you approach it?
Yeah, so typically I am a very nervous athlete right before a race. So I usually am either like really quiet or like talking to someone. But what kind of sets my mind right is just taking a minute to breathe and just surrendering it all to the Lord and just remembering that, like, okay, like I love this sport and I'm going to give it all to the Lord, just all glory for him. And then, as the start of the race goes, I tried not to go out super fast because of all the nerves and excitement and adrenaline, to just kind of save that for the middle of the race and the end of the race. But you definitely do kind of want to take it out strong at the same time. So it's kind of a balance there.
Now, what about in terms, because this is your sophomore season, correct? So what in terms of the next level? Do you think this is something you want to pursue, Division III, Division II, Division I, NIA, or have you kind of fulfilled that goal and now it's on with the rest of your life after this year?
Yeah, oh my goodness, I would definitely love to continue. The dream is D1 for sure, but I'm definitely open to, whatever the Lord has in store. I've gotten a couple offers so far, which has been super exciting. But I think coming track season, hopefully I'll be getting those big offers from big schools. So, yeah.
Riata Danoff from Pima Cross Country is our guest, ACCAC champion a few weeks ago, and aspiring to be a pediatric nurse, from what I understand. What excites you about the potential of that field and being able to help children?
Yeah, oh my goodness. I just love children. I think they're so sweet. And just kind of growing up, I've always wanted to just kind of help people in that aspect. And then just have been super fascinated with how the Lord has created our bodies. So just being able to get to learn more about that has always been super exciting. And then just kind of knowing that I've wanted to work with children as well. And so kind of put two and two together and was like, oh, I'll be a pediatric nurse.
You volunteer as child care at your church, and you're also an assistant coach at Lehman Academy. Are you coaching track over there, or what are you coaching over there?
Yeah, so that's usually cross country, just kind of over the summer. And so, that has been super fun, trying to help build their program and work with the kids.
So tell me about Riata Danoff, the coach. What do those kids? What do those kids get from you?
Yeah, it's been super fun because I'm still learning as an athlete. So I hope that I get to bring that excitement with me as a coach and just kind of helping them to learn, okay, like this is how you properly run. Like we want to make sure we have good form, and this is how you properly hydrate as an athlete, and especially as a long distance runner. But I hope to bring excitement to the team and just kind of encouraging them to that, this is a family, not just a team. So building those friendships.
I always like to ask the runners. We've had a bunch of conversations with cross country kids this year. How do you explain the breathing part of it and how kids should breathe when they run?
I think as you kind of start to run, just try to breathe through your nose like as long as you can. And then when things start to get hard, sometimes I like to try to breathe through my nose and then out through my mouth, just trying to slow that breathing down.
Interesting indeed, for sure. So what's next? You guys have NJCAA Nationals. Have you qualified for that already, or how does that work?
Yeah, so we're already qualified. I think Coach has purchased our tickets and everything. But our next race is Riverside, California on the 19th. So that will be a fun trip.
Outstanding. So what do you in terms of nationals, do you have any idea what that competition is going to be like? Do you have any idea of what your number needs to be in the mix, top 5, top 10 there?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely going to be a fast race this season, just kind of seeing how all the other states and everything have been competing. But I think in order to be an All-American, I probably have to run low 18s, high 17s, or probably even low 17s. So I'm excited to just kind of go out with the pack and, see what we can do.
Okay, so what would you need to do, or how would you need to approach your racing differently to maybe knock another 30 seconds off?
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, just not being afraid to make those moves. Sometimes I am kind of hesitant to make a move or to even go with someone who makes a move. So I think just kind of being confident and bold in my ability as a runner.
There you go. Well, Rieta, continued success to you. We look forward to seeing what's next on this run for you. No pun intended.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Rieta Danhoff, Pima College cross country. Again, she was the ACCAC Division
From the O'Reilly
I
Chevrolet Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic
they ran
and Weather
both
together.
the Division
Reminder
I
about
and
the
Division
traffic shift
II,
at Grant Road and Alvernon Way. You got two northbound and southbound travel lanes maintained there. However, no left turns will be permitted in any direction at Grant and Alvernon through November. You will be able to access businesses there.
As well as winning last week at the Vaccaro Campy Invitational at Central Arizona with a personal record PR of 18 minutes and 48 seconds. All right, DK on the Sports Tip, 1 hour in the books. We will update you on Major League Baseball. We've got a game happening. It's National League Day, so the National League teams are playing. Phillies and Mets in progress. Hockey, the NHL opens their season tonight. One game in progress, and guess who's on the docket for the late game? That's right, the team formerly known as the Arizona Coyotes. Much more straight ahead. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together. Reminder about the traffic shift at Grant Road and Alvernon Way. You got two northbound and southbound travel lanes maintained there. However, no left turns will be permitted in any direction at Grant and Alvernon through November. You will be able to access businesses there, but only by right turn movements into and out of businesses. For your weather, 102 right now, but we're going to be cooling down to the mid-80s later tonight. I'm Dragon Ball with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together.
This report is sponsored by Bank of America. Bank of America has powerful digital solutions for local and global businesses, so you can make every move matter. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America, N.A., copyright 2024.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-410-6744. 800-410-6744. 800-410-6744.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
The Wildcats play here. This is your home of Arizona Wildcats football, men's basketball, and baseball. This is the home of the Wildcats. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Families affected by Hurricane Helene urgently need support. Help the American Red Cross provide meals and shelter to these families. Donate today to Hurricane Helene by going to redcross.org or calling 1-800-RED-CROSS.
For 100 years, O'Reilly Chevrolet has been part of the fabric of Tucson, just as our Chevy trucks are part of the fabric of America. With that in mind, we're proud to announce it's officially truck season. And this year, we have Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, the all-new Chevy Colorado. Test drive your new Chevy truck on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or check out our entire lineup at O'Reilly.com. Don't miss truck season, going on now at O'Reilly Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Join David Kelly, Kelvin Yvonne, and Glenn Howe at Corbett's this Saturday from 8:30 a.m. for the Arizona Game Day pregame show as we get ready for Arizona versus BYU. Sponsored by Coors Light. Choose Chill, official corporate sponsor of Arizona Athletics.
Bear down, Arizona, as your Arizona Wildcats are back in action this Saturday to take on BYU. Kickoffs at 1 p.m. with pregame coverage starting bright and early at 8:30 a.m. Catch all the action on Wildcats Radio 1290.
Tune into Wildcats Radio 1290 weekly for Brett Brennan's football press conference, where you can catch up on all things Arizona football this season. Sponsored by Coors Light. Choose Chill. official corporate sponsor of Arizona Athletics.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
Mark, you're late. We agreed we'd meet at the gym.
Sorry, I just don't have the energy I did a few years ago.
Could be low testosterone.
Low testosterone?
It happens, especially after 40. I was feeling the same way, so I started taking clomiphene from Zelfie. It helps boost testosterone and made a huge difference for me.
I thought testosterone replacement therapies had risks.
And clomiphene isn't testosterone replacement therapy. There's no injections. It's a simple daily pill that boosts your body's natural production of testosterone.
This helps you?
And clomiphene can double your testosterone levels. Since taking it, I'm building lean muscle. I'm also sleeping better, plus other benefits in the bedroom. It's easy to try. Plus, send them a text right now and get 40% off.
Text BOOST to 200-300 to find out if you qualify for enclomiphene from Zelfie. Don't wait. Text BOOST to 200-300 right now and get 40% off. Enclomiphene can double your testosterone levels, and it's 100% online and shipped directly to your door. Text BOOST to 200-300. That's BOOST to 200-300.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. The one and only home of Arizona football. Pre- and post-game coverage, play-by-play, and live press conferences. We are Wildcats Radio 1290. Live from the CNWT.
Wait, what's the CNWT? Central Northwest Tucson. Duh.
It's DK on the Sports Tip with your host, David Kelly.
Radio. Just when I thought I was out, they drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
David Amata.
Hey, that's Dragon Ball to you.
And Cricket getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but three first names, David Scott Kelly.
Things looking good for the New York Mets in Game 3 of the National League Division Series tonight in Queens, New York. We are in the third game process in the National League. It'll be the third game process in the American League tomorrow. So Dodgers and Padres a little bit later tonight as well. Today was, I don't know if it's officially the last day of the tenure of Dr. Robert C. Robbins at the University of Arizona, but he sent out a message today. I'll read you just briefly, and it was a long message, so we won't get into the whole thing that he wrote, but his farewell message as the 22nd president of the University of Arizona, Robert C. Robbins said, "Serving as the University of Arizona president has been a profound honor. Thank you for an amazing journey. I will always hold the entire Wildcat community close to my heart. Bear down." That is the president of the university, the former president of the University of Arizona. We mentioned last week that Suresh Garamella has taken over that role as the 23rd president. And again, a very polarizing, and most presidents are, whether it's presidents of the universities, president of organizations, president of the United States, can be polarizing. But a lot of people, I believe, appreciative of the work that Dr. Robbins did at the University of Arizona. In fact, Arizona football alum Victor Yates chimes in saying, being a president isn't easy. Then you add being president at the University of Arizona, and we all know it's far from easy. Victor goes on to say, thank you for your service. Enjoy the next part of your journey. That comes from Victor Yates, Arizona football alum, I believe 2010 or 11. He was one of my originals, one of the young men who played on the team when I first got here, and now is a high school coach, high school assistant coach up in the Valley. So great to see Victor staying in the game of football and sharing his knowledge with the next generation. Allison Levine said, thank you for everything you've done for the school. You were a selfless, inspiring, visionary leader who guided the Wildcat community through some incredibly challenging situations. We will forever be grateful to you. And that comes from Allison Levine on the exit of Dr. Robert C. Robbins. If you have anything you want to say about the president and his tenure at the University of Arizona, we'll take your calls today, 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. They are in the bottom of the 7th at Shea Stadium, or Citi Field, as it is now called, in Queens, New York, and the Mets are leading the Phillies 4-0. All of these series are tied 1-1 as the Royals beat the Yankees last night. And so every single one of the 4 division series is even heading into Game 3. Tonight, Petco Park will be the site of the other National League Game 3 between the Dodgers and the Padres. The Dodgers winning Game 1, the Padres big in Game 2. Game 3 there will first pitch at around 6:08, so shortly after we get off the air. The big news in in New York today had nothing to do with this Game 3 between the Phillies and the Mets. It did so have to do with the firing by the Jets of their head coach after 5 games this season. And so Robert Saleh is no longer leading Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. He has been let go by team owner Woody Johnson today. Jeff Ulbrich, the defensive coordinator, has been named the interim head coach. This coming after the Jets lost by, I believe it was 6 points this past weekend on the road in London to the Minnesota Vikings, who are now, 6-0, 5-0? The Vikings are undefeated, having the season of all seasons so far. Not so much for the Jets, who had high expectations in a year in which they anticipated that Aaron Rodgers would be healthy. He is, but it has not turned out so far as they had hoped. After they got off to, I believe they were 2-1. They've lost 2 in a row. Yeah, they were 2-1 after the first 3 games and looked like maybe things were turning a corner, but a pair of losses in a row, and Robert Saleh's tenure is over in New York. So if you are a Jets fan, we can talk about that today. 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. We'll get to our question of the day here in a moment. I do want to shout out once again, Tyler Loop, for the second straight week, is one of the 3 Groza national place kickers of the week. Tyler Loop just continues to rack in the accolades after he went 5 for 6 field goals in the loss this past Saturday to Texas Tech. Tyler Loop, once again, a Groza kicker of the week. So congratulations to him. That's 2 weeks in a row. And I would think that he's the front runner now for the Groza Award at the end of the year. National Kicker of the Year, putting himself in good position for that. I just hope he gets a game winner again. He got a game winner last year against Colorado. I would hope that he gets another opportunity at a game winner this year at some point. Maybe this Saturday in Provo to silence the 60,000 people wearing blue. That would be cool.
Currently tied for the most field goals made.
Yeah, 12.
12 with Jesus Gomez from Eastern Michigan, who also has 12.
Yes, sir. I mean,
Is that good? Is that good when your field goal kicker leads the nation in most field goals made?
Well, if you were, I think we'd be more happy about it if the Wildcats were 5-0 and not 3-2. And
fair point.
As I said yesterday, there was one field goal I wish they had not allowed him to kick, but they did. And so, hey, can't anticipate. And you wonder, I mean, again, I'm not going to put anything on Tyler Loop, but you wonder if he makes that last kick, or the second to last kick, the 5th one, and they go up 4, does that change potential outcome of what happened? Because, they went down pretty much real quickly, hit a deep pass on Emmanuel Carnley, and got themselves into kicking range and kicked the go-ahead field goal. And then the next drive, the turnover by Tetro McMillan on the strip, and they go down pretty much on the next play, and Taj Brooks busts off a 32-yard run.
I did the math on Monday, but it was crazy. They had 31 yards total offense. up until those final 2 drives. So their first 6 drives, Texas Tech, they had 31 total second half yards. They had something like 97 on those last 2 drives right after that. So it was just in the last, 5.5 minutes of game time that their offense came back alive.
Yeah. I mean, again, and the thing about that is you have to go in, I think, you have to believe that you're going to give up at least one time. My philosophy on football is this: you have to believe you're going to give up likely at least 1 touchdown a half. So they had played so well, as you'd mentioned, they were holding them down, but you still have to, and that was the reason why I thought they needed to go for it in that 4th and 1 situation, because even there were like still 6-7 minutes left in the game at that point. You got to feel like, they're going to maybe get at least 1 more touchdown because they're too good not to. That offense is too good not to. And you got, you can falsify yourself, I think, into this belief that, oh, well, Utah did not score in the second half against us, so we can do it again. But man, in college football, these offenses are just too good. They're too good for that. So if you go in there with that mindset, I think of we gotta score touchdowns because we're probably going to at least give up. They're probably going to get 1 more in this game. Then you put yourself in a better position, I think, to win a football game, and that's why I wanted them to go for it. It was in that 4th and 1 situation.
10 minutes and 22 seconds left in the 4th quarter when the delay of game penalty happened.
Right. Mm-hmm. Plenty of time for that team to go down there and get, like I said, to get at least 1 more touchdown. And it didn't come on the next drive, but it came on the drive after that. And obviously, Wildcats now 3-2, heading to BYU. Kalani Sitake talked about his first coaching win. Came against Arizona. That game up in Phoenix. Gosh, what year was that? 2016, maybe? 16 or 17? They opened the season. I want to say, it was 17. I think it was 17. Was it 16? 16. Because
Glendale, yeah.
I knew Solomon was still the quarterback.
It was an 18-16 loss.
Yeah. They won it on a last-second field goal. That was Kalani Sitake's first game as head coach of the BYU Cougars. So the rivalry is renewed. And I'll repeat what I've said. I think this is going to be the big rivalry. Outside of Arizona State, this is going to be the big rivalry, I think, for Arizona moving forward.
I got a question.
In this conference.
In order to have a real rivalry, do you not have to have 2 fan bases that have a little bit of spittle coming out of their mouth when they yell at each other type of thing?
I would think so. Yeah, I would think, heck, I would think anybody would have some spittle coming out of their mouth against the BYU fan base. I mean, they're loud and they're proud.
Well, the thing is that I have family members who went to school there. And my experience is that they're very loud and proud to root for their team. But less so about hating other teams outside of the Utes, because the Utes and the Cougars have had a rivalry going way back. They didn't even play each other for a long time. I'm sure that I'm missing some rivalry, some deep-seated, maybe they really don't like New Mexico State. I don't know the full history.
Right.
It's just my experience with a lot of BYU fans was overjoyed when their teams are really good. And come on, how many good BYU football teams have we seen in our lifetimes? A lot, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they've had quite a lot. They had the nation's leading passer there seemingly every single year during the 80s and 90s. So it's not as if they haven't had a lot to cheer for over the years. I just think the majority and I'm not going to speak for everybody and generalize, my personal experience of a lot of BYU Cougar fans that I've met, really, really happy and loud and proud to cheer for their own team, but less vitriol and hatred for other fan bases.
No question about that. But I think it's
happy people.
I think they are happy people. Yeah, but I think it's the energy that they bring. I think is that to me that alone will make you want to.
Hey, if it's third and long and the crowd's making some noises, it doesn't matter.
How many times have we've heard already from coaches? Becca Morris said it a few weeks ago. We're glad this game is here. We're glad the game against BYU last Friday night was here. We heard Trita Stubbs after they beat BYU say, we're glad we got this one because we know when we go there, it's going to be, I don't know if you've seen, I watched a game a few years ago, BYU on TV. They know how to get rowdy for pretty much everything.
It's funny, DK,
it's pretty much every sport.
We talk about Arizona and Tucson specifically as being a transplanted community where so many people bring their allegiances to Michigan and Midwestern teams and East Coast teams here. The thing about Provo is it's hard to find a person who's not a Cougar fan around that area, right? So it's the exact opposite. It's like all for one, one for all. So the fans are all BYU Cougar fans who live in that area relative to someone who goes to the University of Arizona football game at Arizona Stadium. They may be watching the Michigan State game on their phone, right? They want to go see football live, but they're really a Spartan fan at heart. And I think a lot of that noise you hear is because, hey, a lot of Cougars fans live in the Provo area, generational. So, yeah, there's definitely a huge amount of fan support. I've never seen an event that didn't have a very boisterous, loud crowd behind it.
520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. We will hear from the new play caller for the Arizona Wildcats offense, Matt Atkins, straight ahead. He met the media today, talked about his new role, talked about how it came about, as well as his relationship with Dino Babers. We'll hear what Matt Atkins has to say. DK on the sports tip, Dragon Ball in for cricket, getting you home every 20 minutes on the fives with your traffic and your weather.
This report is sponsored by Bank of America. Bank of America has powerful digital solutions for local and global businesses, so you can make every move matter. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America, N.A., copyright 2024.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together. We got a crash on the I-10 frontage road eastbound right now near Walker Road. This is just north of the road work they're doing on the ramps there at West Orange Grove. Be aware of some slowdowns there. Also, pavement improvements continuing on Moore Road between Thornydale and La Cholla Boulevard. Crews are going to be down there to monitor traffic until 6. Weather at 102 degrees, we're going to be cooling down to the mid-80s tonight. I'm Dragon Ball with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together.
Not all sports stations are built the same way. 1290 has Wildcats football, men's basketball, and baseball, plus the NFL and the Super Bowl. Tucson trusts 1290. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Sean Furrier here for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. There's a rumor that summer could finally be coming to an end, a big relief for us. But your car is probably still feeling the effects of the brutal summer heat. So now's the perfect time to stop by any of the 14 area Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care locations for a complimentary check of your brakes, batteries, coolant levels, and wiper blades. Those are just a few of the things to help keep your car road trip ready. And when those cooler overnight temperatures finally do arrive, some of you will see your low pressure warning light come on. But don't worry, you can stop by anytime for a free tire inspection and air pressure check. And if your tire sensor really is a problem, we can fix that too. Mention this ad and get free installation and tire rebalancing with the purchase of any new tire pressure sensor. Visit jackfurriers.com for even more specials. And for fast, friendly service, you can make an appointment online, call ahead, or just drive up and find out why Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care is the locals' favorite for tires and automotive repair. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Since 1960, we're here to get you there.
Moments like hearing my cat purr good morning mean a lot to me. But after being diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, or MBC, which is breast cancer that is spread to other parts of the body, they mean even more. I take Ibrance, palbociclib. Ibrance 125 milligram tablets with an aromatase inhibitor is for adults with HR-positive, HER2-negative MBC as the first hormonal-based therapy. Ask your doctor about Ibrance and visit Ibrance.com. Ibrance may cause low white blood cell counts that may lead to serious infections. Ibrance may cause severe inflammation of the lungs. Both of these can lead to death. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including trouble breathing, shortness of breath, cough, or chest pain. Before taking Ibrance, tell your doctor if you have fever, chills, or other signs of infection, liver or kidney problems, are or plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding. Common side effects include low red blood cell and low platelet counts, infections, tiredness, nausea, sore mouth, abnormalities in liver blood tests, diarrhea, hair thinning or loss, vomiting, rash, and loss of appetite.
Is he okay?
Ron, did you get hit on the head?
What? Oh, no. I was just reminiscing.
Here comes a story.
I was 5 or 6. A scruffy little ragamuffin I was.
A scruffy? What are you, Charles Dickens?
Mama just wanted to comfort me.
Mama?
Comfort. It's why we started Alaskan AC, you know?
We know.
I was being a fuss budget. Golly, I was a scoundrel.
Get to the point.
These were the early days at Alaskan AC, see?
See.
It's a fun place to work at Alaskan AC.
Ron.
We don't take ourselves too seriously.
We literally just came up with the new Alaskan AC jingle last month.
What? Who's that? Who's there? Is it you, Mama?
Oh, boy.
Yes, Ronnie, it's Mama.
Did your little Ron Bon make you proud?
Every day, dear.
Why did I even come to work today?
Because...
It's a fun place to work at Alaskan AC. We don't take ourselves too seriously.
AlaskanAC.com.
Get your backyard summer ready with a custom pool from First Choice Pools. A backyard oasis built around you. First Choice is a full-service builder of beautiful in-ground pools and backyard designs for years of staycations. If you want to dive in this summer, now is the time to visit TucsonPoolBuilder.com. First Choice Pools for installs, renovation, remodeling, and repair. Get started today at TucsonPoolBuilders.com. Ask about our 60-day pool. To be summer ready, First Choice is the only choice.
Why are there so many options to listen to Wildcats Radio 1290? Like the Odyssey.com and iHeartRadio app. Well, to be honest, they asked to carry the best sports station in town, and we didn't want to hurt their feelings.
That is so sweet.
This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Hi, I'm Mike Ham with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. Week 5 wrapped up Monday night with the Chiefs improving to 5-0 after defeating the Saints 26-13. Derek Carr left the game in the fourth quarter with an oblique injury, while Patrick Mahomes, he threw for 331 yards, and Kareem Hunt added 102 yards on the ground. Staying in Kansas City, NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport is reporting that Rashee Rice will undergo surgery to repair an LCL injury in his right leg and is expected to miss the remainder of the season. In Houston, DeMeco Ryans told reporters on Monday that Nico Collins is considered week to week after suffering a hamstring injury during the Texans' win over the Bills on Sunday. The Colts head coach Shane Steichen has confirmed that Anthony Richardson will remain the Colts starting quarterback when the second-year star returns from that oblique injury that he sustained in Week 4 against the Steelers. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
All right, gentlemen, this is Emmett Smith on behalf of Depend, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing catch. Because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable, and one blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, Depend is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, Depend is donating 40 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for Depend Shield Guards Real Fit products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $300,000 void in Mississippi.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. 520-848-1290. You can call us at that number. You can text us at that number. We had a chance to, as always, we do hear from the Arizona Wildcats offense today, and the coach present was none other than Matt Atkins, the tight ends coach, as well as passing game coordinator for the Arizona Wildcats. He has taken over the play calling duties for this offense and talked about how that whole change came about.
How did that opportunity come up? I'll keep some of those conversations internal. The only thing that
Mike is good. All right, we'll start with questions with Coach Atkins.
Let's do it.
Justin.
So the play calling change happened a couple of weeks ago. How did that opportunity come about for you, and how's it been for you the last couple of weeks?
How did that opportunity come up? I'll keep some of those conversations internal. The only thing that I'll say is that ever since Coach Babers has arrived. He has been awesome and nothing but supportive, and somebody that's that I can lean on in a lot of different ways, not just football, but also outside of football. Especially the way that came up and the way that he handled it was something that I hope that I have enough, that I am able to handle those situations the same way he did whenever they come across my desk, because he has been absolutely fantastic, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate him. And then outside of that, just, excited at the opportunity. And it's something I feel like I've been preparing my whole entire life for. And so to finally get that opportunity was just a lot of excitement.
In what ways has he helped you with this process? What are some of the biggest things that you've learned from Coach Babers?
Just wisdom. I think I learned this from my grandfather and my dad. There's really no way to make up experience in this industry. And obviously, as a young coach, I'm working to get as much experience as I possibly can. But he has just been through so many things, been through so many challenges, been through so many times where things are awesome, that he constantly has a good perspective for me. And he also, I think, sees it through a little bit of a different lens. And so sometimes it's great to get a perspective that is different from your own. And yeah, I mean, in those spots, he's been invaluable to me.
Coach Brennan mentioned the possibility of carrying too much scheme. After a few days of evaluating everything, did you guys come to the conclusion that's the case, or where are you kind of in that process?
I think you talk to any coordinators across the country, and that's always a conversation about what's the right amount, what's too much. And we are constantly having discussions about it as a staff, trying to figure out the right amount, in terms of certain categories. As we look back on it, I think we felt good about the scheme that we carried, and a little bit of those conversations about what do we do in the week to make sure that we're more solid within those schemes, to where we're still presenting challenges to the defense, but we make sure that we are lock solid without missed assignments on our side.
And then when you look at the offensive struggles, is there a common theme that you're finding, or is it kind of vary by drive, by play?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is consistency and attention to detail. And, if you have a play, you might have 7 details that are important to you executing that play. And on one rep, only 3 of them are important. And on the next rep, 3 other details are important, whether it's releases or depth or angle out or going eyes to tuck. And right now we are straining as a coaching staff to try and get as much detail into our players as possible, because at some critical moments, that's not showing up. And so, you look at, I think we had over 400 yards of offense in the last game. We were in the red zone. I cheated a little bit. I counted some of them. I got to the 26 or the 27 as the red zone. We were in the red zone 7 times and only got 1 touchdown. And so we are doing good stuff. Like there are pockets in there where we are playing good football. It's just a matter of getting that more consistently.
Brian, you kind of joked during the preseason that the game plan is just get the ball to number 4 kind of thing. But I mean, he is obviously the main target.
Yep.
But how do you get it to other people when he is such a valuable weapon? And are you worried that sometimes maybe Noah is thinking that that's going to always be there, and that I should just go for that when there's other people available?
Yeah. One of my biggest emphasis right now is distribution of the football, and making sure that the football is going to the right guy, because it should. Now, T is it. I can't tell you how stupid I'd be if we don't try and profile T in this offense, right? Like he deserves that, and we should be doing that. But we need to make sure that ball is being distributed across everyone, on whether that's running backs, tight ends, the other wide receivers. For us to be the healthiest offensively, we have to get the ball distributed more.
What have you seen from Noah the past couple of weeks? What do you maybe think is causing some of the inconsistency of the receivers, not getting open necessarily, or him just not making the right reads?
I think it's a mixture of all of it. I don't think you can necessarily attribute it to one thing. It'd be great if you could, because then you just fix that one thing. I know that at times he needs to just trust the progression and trust where his eyes should be, and trust the information that the defense is giving him. And all of those things are huge conversations going on with us behind closed doors. And I'm sure you guys have been around him enough. There's not another guy in the country I would want to play quarterback for me. I have a blast coaching him, his energy, the type of young man he is. And I feel confident that he's going to move in the right direction on that.
You kind of talked about it in terms of making the right reads, reading the progression, but how do you help a quarterback along that may, I don't want to say get tunnel vision at times, but maybe too much to process out there on the football field and is going to T-Mac or is going to this guy? Because he has missed a couple open guys, and it seems like it's just dogpiling where he's playing a little too hard at times.
Yeah, it's reps. It's reps. It's reps, and then getting him to understand where those eye progressions should go. And the other part is trusting the scheme, trusting the personnel to get himself through the progression. Because we've left a couple things out there the last couple weeks, and I promise you this, there's no one in the building that knows it more than number 11, and there's nobody in the building that takes it more serious than number 11, and that's why I have such confidence that we will get it going in the right direction.
So last time we talked to you, you talked about your experience in Sweden. Can you elaborate more on that and how that year where you called 30 games in a calendar year really elevated your play calling experience?
I was there for 2 years, and I'm a third generation coach's kid, but everyone was small college coaches. And I went over there and had an absolute blast, and it was my first time calling it, and my first time since now calling it. And so it was transformative for me, because I came away from that and I said, I want to make sure the next time that I call plays is it's at the highest level possible, because I had such a positive experience and got a little bit of confidence that, like, you know, I think I have a chance to be halfway decent at this. And I still, you know, these last 2 weeks I've thought a lot about that experience, just how grateful I was to go over there, and how grateful I was to those guys for buying into me the way that they did, because it gave me the confidence to go and volunteer in GA and be on the path that I am to be sitting here today.
And then the offensive line, what have you seen out of that group, and particularly Alexander Deuce, what he's shown in the last couple weeks?
Our group, I love our group. I mean, we've had to deal with, at a couple different spots, some mixing and matching because of some injuries. But the way that they have stepped up, now it hasn't been perfect all the time, but when we get down to some of the guys that we're getting in there, the first part is with Coach Oglesby, you're seeing them develop and get better week to week, which is what you always want to see, especially in the position I am. To have a coach developing the players the way that he's developing them is awesome. And Deuce, his progression from 2 weeks ago to where he's at today is like night and day. And so I'm really pleased with the way he's developing, and we're excited for where that could go, because he's still a young player. He's still got a lot of football ahead of him, but we feel much better about that than we did, say, a month ago with just his trajectory.
Last question to Jason.
How would you assess Burnett's play the last few weeks, and then where would you kind of like him to see him take the next step?
The biggest thing for Key is, I mean, he's ready to explode. He's ready to explode. And he's been banged up. He's been banged up. And so, you know, there's just been some ebb and flow there. And it's a point of emphasis for our offense. It's a point of emphasis for me. The biggest thing is just, and he had a great practice today. And to get him in the right spot so that he can show consistently what he's capable of doing. Because we have a great player there, and I'm confident that the best football is ahead of him.
And then, BYU defense, what do you see from them?
They're great. They're physical, they're long, they're extremely sound, and their coaching staff does an incredible job with them. You know, they're also, just the nature of the university, there's a lot of older guys, so they're really physically developed. And so it'll be a big time challenge for us. But the group that we have, I think, relishes those moments, and that makes it really fun to coach them, because I know that the stadium and that group and how good they are, they will look to it as a challenge and get excited about that.
That is the passing game coordinator for your Arizona Wildcats, Matt Atkins, saying that Noah Fifita has to trust the progressions, which kind of sounds a little bit like what we were saying at the top of the show, that he needs to be at times more patient. Again, I don't necessarily like all the longer routes that we're seeing. I'd like to see some shorter routes, but maybe he needs to be more patient and let some of those other routes develop before he makes a quick decision on where to go with the football.
Is that the toughest thing for a young quarterback to figure out? Because you're talking about advancing the speed, the size of players going from high school, especially to college, and especially to a bigger power conference where the bodies are just bigger and faster. That progression of feeling the pressure in the pocket and going to your second, your third read, DK, is that the most difficult thing for a young quarterback to figure out?
I would think it is. Yeah, absolutely. There's no question about that, because the protection, he's getting hit. There are some times he's getting hit, but I think the protection overall has been pretty good.
I've been
the last few weeks
super amazed and proud at how much he stood in on all of those throws. Like, he's gotten whacked after throwing the ball 35 yards, stepping into those throws, not only feeling the pressure coming, but seeing a linebacker about to hit him in the chest, right?
Yeah.
He's followed through on a lot of those throws in the last couple of games where that pressure was right there. You definitely don't want to see your quarterback get hit that much. But as far as over the middle, having a healthy tight end is going to help, huh?
It is. And Keon Burnett, obviously, we'd like him to be that guy, but as you heard now for this the second time, we've heard that he has been dealing with some injuries this year, as has this entire team been dealing with some injuries. And some guys, unfortunately, will not be playing anymore this year. So you got to be ready to go. The next guy's got to be ready to go, and we've seen that on a number of occasions. In the past couple of weeks, where guys have stepped up. Emmanuel Carnley has stepped up and played relatively well for Marquise Groves-Killebrew on that corner, that one boundary corner side. We've seen Isaiah Johnson jump in there along with Stanley Tuofo, who has been excellent the last 2 weeks. Down front for Chuba Maye, who's been slowed by injuries. And Genesis Smith, Genesis Smith, the break he had on some of the passes in that game were next level. But we knew that. We knew that coming from him. We knew eventually he would be on the field. His time, though, obviously with the injuries on the backside at the star position to Trayden Stukes and safety position to Gunnar Maldonado, his time is now, and they're going to need him even more so moving forward in this conference. All right, DK on the Sports Tip. We're going to talk some Arizona football with Glenn Howe coming up about 5:20. Dragon Ball getting you home every 20 minutes on the fives with your traffic and your weather.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic, sponsored by Park Place Management. You might see some curb lane restrictions until about 5 p.m. over at Cotero Road west of the I-10 and Silver Bell Road and Wade Road for that sidewalk work that's occurring until the end of the month. Also, Silver Bell Road Bridge closed at the Blanco Wash through January of 2025 for bridge improvements there. Still about 101 degrees right now, cooling down to the mid-80s later tonight. I'm Dragon Ball with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by ChumbaCasino.com. With over 100 online casino-style games, Chumba Casino is your go-to destination for nonstop entertainment. Play for fun and play for free at ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Escape the ordinary and indulge in a world of excitement at Park Place Mall. Discover endless possibilities with over 100 stores, restaurants, and entertainment options. Join them for the monthly Kids Club, Yappy Hour, and seasonal events. From fashion to food, it's all at Park Place Mall, where you belong.
It's a season to forget for Purdue. I'm Sammy P, here to help you beat the books with BetQL. Purdue is 1-4 and has lost 4 straight. Now the Boilermakers travel to Champaign to take on Illinois as a 19.5-point underdog. The BetQL model staying far away from the side, but likes the total. BetQL over 50 is a 5-star best bet. I'm Sammy P. Bet smarter and beat the books. Download the BetQL and BetMGM apps today.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip,
or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food. No matter what you're craving, from 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week, all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Tune into Wildcats Radio 1290 weekly for Brett Brennan's football press conference, where you can catch up on all things Arizona football this season. Sponsored by Coors Light. Choose chill. Official corporate sponsor of Arizona Athletics.
Hey homeowners, are you ready to chill out and go green? Goodfellas Air Conditioning can help. Introducing our latest lineup of energy-efficient systems featuring the new R32 refrigerant. It's cooler, greener, and better for the planet. You'll enjoy lower energy bills and a smaller carbon footprint. Not a fan of change? Goodfellas has a surplus of reliable R410 systems available. Unsure about what system you have or have questions? Give us a call for a free inspection. Goodfellas Air Conditioning, keeping it cool, keeping it green, and always keeping you comfortable.
Do you often worry you left your garage door open? With the LiftMaster Garage Door Opener powered by MyQ, you'll never worry again. You can control, secure, and monitor your garage from your smartphone anytime from anywhere through the MyQ app. As an authorized LiftMaster dealer, we have smart openers designed for your needs, including belt drive motors for ultra-quiet operation, integrated camera for live video streaming, and battery backup that lets you in when the power is out. The team at Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates are your locally owned LiftMaster professionals. Visit KaiserGarage.com to learn more.
Online, on your phone with the Freedom 1400 app, on your smart speaker, or on the air. No matter how you listen. Join Brian Kilmeade for his insightful commentary and engaging discussions from 6 to 9 a.m. Keep the conversation going with Dan Bongino from 9 to noon for his straight-talking analysis. Then catch Chris Plant from noon to 3 and Jimmy Fela from 3 to 6 for more thought-provoking discussions and hilarious moments. Conservative talk for Tucson is Freedom 1400 AM.
Sean Furrier here for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. There's a rumor that summer could finally be coming to an end, a big relief for us. But your car is probably still feeling the effects of the brutal summer heat. So now's the perfect time to stop by any of the 14 area Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care locations for a complimentary check of your brakes, batteries, coolant levels, and wiper blades. Those are just a few of the things to help keep your car road trip ready. And when those cooler overnight temperatures finally do arrive, some of you will see your low pressure warning light come on. But don't worry, you can stop by anytime for a free tire inspection and air pressure check. And if your tire sensor really is a problem, we can fix that too. Mention this ad and get free installation and tire rebalancing with the purchase of any new tire pressure sensor. Visit jackfurriers.com for even more specials. And for fast, friendly service, you can make an appointment online, call ahead, or just drive up and find out why Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care is the local's favorite for tires and automotive repair. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Since 1960, we're here to get you there.
DK on the Sports Tip, 3 to 6 weekdays.
Does Umar Ballo's decision to play for the Indiana Hoosiers change your feeling about his legacy as an Arizona Wildcats player?
Umar Ballo was about as Wildcat as it gets. Look at the smile on his face when he talks about what the McHale crowd means to him. That's real. How do you be a fan, David? That's the conversation we're having. You want to open that Pandora's box. And what does it mean to be a fan, and how do you fan? Well, that's really up to you.
Wildcats Radio 1290. DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. The Mets are kicking the Phillies' butt right now. It is 6-0. Heading to the ninth inning in Queens. The Mets win. They'll take a 2-1 lead and be one game away from a trip to the National League Championship Series. Dodgers and San Diego straight ahead coming up a little bit later tonight. Winner of that game will go up 2-1. First final today in the National Hockey League went to St. Louis over the Seattle, what do they call themselves? The Kraken, 3-2. The Blues go on the road and win that one. We had a 5-star play. We didn't get this to you before the game started, so my apologies on that. But you can still bet it. I think it'll probably be at a little bit of a lower number now that the game has started. But the 5-star play from BetQL on this Boston-Florida game, which is in progress now, the opening night of the National Hockey League, was the over at 5.5 goals. The over at 5.5 goals. And early on, it is Florida 1, Boston nothing. The third game of the opening night will be your former Arizona Coyotes, now the Utah Hockey Club, UHC. They will host the Chicago Blackhawks in Salt Lake City. That coming up at 7 o'clock. All right, Phillies have scored twice, and they've got 2 runners on. So trying to make a stink of things there in New York City right now. I wanted to give you, I didn't give you the results on yesterday's question of the day, and I'll give you today's again. Today's question of the day. I didn't give you today's question of the day yet, so we got to do that. Today's question of the day. How about this? This happened over the weekend quietly while we were off doing other things, but Arizona Wildcat 1980 grad and baseball national champion Terry Francona is no longer retired.
Tito.
He is now the manager of the Cincinnati Reds.
Now, seeing as how he was the Guardians manager for like 12 years, right?
Yeah.
And he stopped because of health concerns, right? So how long did he take off?
A year, 1 season.
Hey, a year does a body good, right?
Apparently, Francona said, I needed to go home and get healthy and see what I miss about the game. I don't foresee managing again. That is what he said when he retired as the manager of the Indians or Guardians after the 2023 season. Well, he must be healthy now. And that's the big thing with Tito. It's, is he healthy? Because he dealt with a lot of stuff over the course of those last few years in Cleveland. Stomach, hip, shoulder ailments, blood clots, staph infection. I mean, he was in and out of the hospital. I think he missed all of the pretty much the end of the 2021 season. Just a lot of stuff. Had a heart procedure in 2017. Couldn't manage the All-Star game that year. So there's a lot of stuff that he's been dealing with health-wise. So the question was always, is he healthy? Can he be healthy? And if he's healthy, then absolutely he should be managing again. He's 65 years old, so he probably has another good 10 years. If he wanted to manage another 10 years, he's one of the best in the business. Who wouldn't want Terry Francona managing their ball club? 2 World Series titles in Boston, 2004, 2007, ending that club's 86-year championship drought. Got the Tribe to the World Series in 2016, had a 3-1 lead on the Cubs, but couldn't close it out. So that close to ending our drought in Cleveland, which at that point was, 62 years? And we're still waiting. So the question of the day, and you can head on over to Twitter right now at Wildcats1290. Will Terry Francona, a.k.a. Tito, lead the Cincinnati Reds? And I'm going to give you an easy one, to the playoffs. I was teetering back and forth. Should I make this lead the Reds to the World Series? Because he's done that. The only team that he didn't take to the World Series was the Phillies when he managed the Phillies. He took Boston to the World Series, won twice, took Cleveland to the World Series, lost. Will he take the Reds to the playoffs? I made it easy on you in that respect. Head on over right now, Wildcats 1290. You can vote in that poll. Will Terry Francona take the Reds to the playoffs? 100% of you right now saying yes. Tito is magic.
It's pretty magical.
Everything Tito touches turns to gold.
I know why he's coming back. It's because, DK, there are only 12 managers in Major League Baseball history who have won 2,000 or more games. Tito Terry Francona has 1,950 wins as a manager.
Okay.
50 more wins. He joins that exclusive. He's second all time. Dusty's not managing anymore, right?
No.
So Bochy is the leader, active managers, and Terry would be second when he comes back of active managers.
Yeah.
Total wins.
There you go. That's a good reason to come back. So, of course, I tweeted when I heard this news over the weekend, Terry Francona is going back to Goodyear, but to the wrong side of the complex.
Yeah.
Good luck. We love Tito, though.
What's not to love? I mean, he doesn't have a lot of enemies wherever he goes, right? Like, I don't know a lot of people who don't like Tito Francona. He's great.
Yesterday's question of the day, we'll give you the results on that. Yesterday's question of the day, what player most impressed you from the Arizona Wildcats Red-Blue game this past Friday night? And the choices were Henry Vesar, Carter Bryant, Anthony Del Orso, and Toby Awaka. One of those players, J-Dub, did not get any votes. Who do you think that was?
Give me the four really quick one more time.
Carter Bryant.
Not him.
Anthony Del Orso.
Not him.
Toby Awaka. And Henry Vesar.
I mean, I think Vesar, maybe people didn't give Vesar votes because he's not necessarily a new player. He played 2 years ago, but I would guess probably Awaka. Because
it was Vesar.
I mean, Awaka, if you look at him physically, you look at like, oh man, that guy's a monster. He's going to pull down a bunch of boards. And he's also pretty raw offensively. Skill set wise, I think clearly Vesar, but maybe they didn't vote for Henry Vesar because they maybe don't consider him a newcomer.
Yeah, maybe. What I saw of him, I liked the way he moved and coming off an injury. That was maybe one of the things you wanted to see. I think he's going to be an exciting player to watch this season for sure.
Henry Vesar is very fluid for his size and has a great skill set on the basket with both shoulders, either shoulders. And he has a good feel for the game. You said pass, being able to read and understand. So anybody who's sleeping on Henry Vesar's contributions to this year's Arizona Wildcat team, check back in a couple of months and you may change your mind because especially in the high-low, we didn't see much of it last year. But when he has two true post players who both can see above the defense, DK is a big part of that. Remember, when Zoo was at the high post at 6'9", 6'10", being able to see over the top of defenders and finding somebody who was flashing to the post, generally that would probably be Balo or Koloko. That was a very beautiful thing to watch. And anybody who can make that 14, 15-foot shot at that size is going to be, dialed into that style of flow offense they have where if anything breaks down, you can always turn it into a high-low kind of set and having that person who can knock that shot down and face up and knock it down. I think Vesar's got that range. He's going to surprise some people, I think, this year.
Should be interesting to watch for sure. The winner of that poll, by the way, was Anthony Del Orso at 55%, followed by Carter Bryant at 27%, Toby Awaka at 18%, and then no votes for Henry Vesar. But we appreciate you all taking part in that one.
It's funny because, a funny meme going around these days is Anthony Bennett dominating preseason. And if you don't remember, he was the number one pick out of UNLV when it wasn't a very strong draft. He's 31 years old. He hasn't been in the league now for 6 years. And where am I going with this? Well, preseason scrimmage stuff. If you're assessing what somebody's numbers are, not what they look like or how they're, how they move on the court or how they get in their defensive stance, but if you're looking specifically at a box score for a scrimmage and determining that that's how a player will do in the season, that's not really how any of that works. And as I said yesterday, you're going to see a lot of guys who might get up 15 or 20 shots in a red-blue type environment who might not get 15 or 20 shots the rest of the season.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see how the rotations go. It's going to be interesting. So many newcomers to see how Coach Lloyd really wants to tighten up that rotation and see who's going to really be contributing because you're going to know pretty quick. I mean, they've got some big games coming up right off the top. So there's a lot of guys returning. You know what they're going to give. But those other guys who, have contributed at other levels, maybe quite not to the level that the big dude. I mean, there's 5 top 10 basketball teams in the Big 12 right now. 5. It's going to be the craziest in-conference season I think a lot of fans have ever seen. So those guys who've had that experience before, even if it was a small college, obviously Del Orso being, chief among them, we'll see how that evolves and translates into what Coach Lloyd's doing with his flow offense.
We've got exhibition games coming up. We're less than 2 weeks away from the first exhibition game against Eastern New Mexico. That'll be on Monday, so a week from this coming Monday. The 21st will be that exhibition game at McHale Center, followed by the following Monday will be the second exhibition game against Point Loma. That'll also be at McHale Center. We do not have any times on any of these games yet, so hopefully we'll get those here in the not too
9
distant
p.m. tip-off.
Future. 9 p.m. Yeah, let's hope not that late for an exhibition game. And then the season starts for real against Canisius on November the 4th. So that'll be We're 4 Mondays away from that, 3 Mondays away from that. It's creeping up very quickly this basketball season. We will carry those exhibition games. We won't have full productions in terms of post-game and pre-game on those particular games, but we will air those games here.
There was some scheduling news that came out yesterday. Did you see that? Arizona's accepted an invitation to the 2026 Maui Invitational. And that field's coming together.
Yes.
So far, it looks like Purdue, Notre Dame, Maryland, Providence, Ole Miss, BYU, and VCU. I'm sorry, not Purdue. Notre Dame, Maryland, Providence, Ole Miss, BYU, and VCU so far, along with the Arizona Wildcats.
There you go. And speaking of scheduling news, we've got something to tell you about for Arizona soccer coming up this week. They were supposed to go down and play at Central Florida this weekend. But as you've probably heard, there's a hurricane bearing down on Central Florida.
One of my best friends, Allie, she moved from Tucson to Tampa like 5 years ago. And the last storm that came through, they're a little higher. But this one, they've gone to Miami and they've boarded up the house.
Ooh.
It's going to be a bad one.
Yeah, but apparently it's maybe not as bad as they thought. I guess it's dialed down to maybe Category 4 from 5.
They're saying it's going to be like a 3 at landfall, but the winds, it's going to be less about storm surge. Well, I mean, storm surge is always a problem. Less about like the localized rainfall, which was a big issue last couple of weeks, as much as high, strong winds is the big issue.
So we'll tell you what's happening with the soccer team coming up. They will not be traveling to Florida, as you can probably imagine. DK on the Sports Step. We're also going to break down Arizona Wildcat football with Glenn Howe coming up at 5:20. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together. Got a crash right now on the South Nogales Highway and East Bilby Road, slowing on East Bilby with a possible injury there. And the accident that we reported earlier at East Speedway Boulevard and North 6th Avenue, still some slowdown on 6th as we speak in the moment. As for the weather, we're still in the triple digits, but we're going to get ready to start cooling down to the 90s here in about the next hour or so. I'm Dragon Ball with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Holiday hosting starts at Lowe's. Get up to 35% off select major appliances, plus save an additional $75 on select cooking appliances, $899 or more. Valid through 10/16 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. Appliance savings vary based on purchase amount. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com for details.
1290 is the one place you can always count on for Arizona Wildcat sports.
Oh, man. Praise the Lord. Thank you.
You will never miss the game if you have your radio locked on 1290.
Such a good feeling to be a Wildcat.
Wildcats Radio 1290.
Hey homeowners, are you ready to chill out and go green? Goodfellas Air Conditioning can help. Introducing our latest lineup of energy-efficient systems featuring the new R32 refrigerant. It's cooler, greener, and better for the planet. You'll enjoy lower energy bills and a smaller carbon footprint. Not a fan of change? Goodfellas has a surplus of reliable R410 systems available. Unsure about what system you have or have questions? Give us a call for a free inspection. Goodfellas Air Conditioning, keeping it cool, keeping it green, and always keeping you comfortable.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
Mark, you're late. We agreed we'd meet at the gym.
Sorry, I just don't have the energy I did a few years ago.
Could be low testosterone?
Low testosterone?
It happens, especially after 40. I was feeling the same way, so I started taking clomiphene from Zelfie. It helps boost testosterone and made a huge difference for me.
I thought testosterone replacement therapies had risks.
And clomiphene isn't testosterone replacement therapy. There's no injections. It's a simple daily pill that boosts your body's natural production of testosterone.
This helps you?
And clomiphene can double your testosterone levels. Since taking it, I'm building lean muscle. I'm also sleeping better, plus other benefits in the bedroom. It's easy to try. Plus, send them a text right now and get 40% off.
Text BOOST to 200-300 to find out if you qualify for enclomiphene from Zelfie. Don't wait. Text BOOST to 200-300 right now and get 40% off. Enclomiphene can double your testosterone levels, and it's 100% online and shipped directly to your door. Text BOOST to 200-300. That's BOOST to 200-300.
The Wildcats play here. This is your home of Arizona Wildcats football, men's basketball, and baseball. This is the home of the Wildcats. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. The one and only home of Arizona basketball. Pre- and post-game coverage, play-by-play, and live press conferences. We are Wildcats Radio 1290. Live from the CNWT.
Wait, what's the CNWT? Central Northwest Tucson. Duh.
It's DK on the Sports Tip with your host, David Kelly.
Radio. Just when I thought I was out, they drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
David Amata.
Hey, that's Dragon Ball to you.
And Cricket getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but 3 first names, David Scott Kelly.
Hour number 3 on a Tuesday. How are you? Glad you could be with us. DK on the Sports Tip. We're going to talk some Arizona Wildcats football in this hour. Glenn Howe will join us at about 5:20. We'll break down the Wildcats. And we were mentioning that Arizona soccer is not going to Florida this weekend. The ladies, after they won, they beat BYU on Friday night for senior night, so that was awesome that they were able to get that win. They were supposed to go down and play Central Florida, but obviously Hurricane Milton is barreling down on Central Florida. So that game has been moved to Houston, which is where the Wildcats were supposed to go on the second leg of that trip. So the first long trip of the new Big 12, it was supposed to be flying all the way to Orlando and then back to Houston to play Thursday, Sunday. Instead, they'll fly to Houston and play both games on the campus of the University of Houston. So they'll play Central Florida as scheduled on Thursday. Initially, they canceled that game, but then were able to get it rescheduled as Central Florida just said we'll just go to Houston. And then, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Arizona State was also scheduled to go and play down there as weekend as well. So I'll have to double check the ASU schedule and see if they're in Houston as well for both their games. But the Wildcats will play against Central Florida on Thursday. That'll be a 5 o'clock game. And then they'll play against Houston on Sunday at 11 a.m. So those will be their 2 games this week in the Big 12 for U of A women's soccer. Speaking of ASU, Arizona volleyball goes on the road this week, and they will travel up to face the kids from Tempe. That'll be tomorrow night in the first Territorial Cup game of this new collegiate year. And Arizona State's pretty good in volleyball, so that's not necessarily a game that the Wildcats will be favorite in this weekend. But again, they're playing better. Lost the game to Utah on Friday, 1-3. But it'll be a tough assignment in Tempe coming up tomorrow for Charita Stubbs and her ladies. We were just saying telling you about the soccer changes. ASU is in Texas this weekend. However, they do not play Houston. They play at Baylor and TCU this weekend.
Is that the hardest thing to wrap your brain around, is the idea that whoever Arizona's playing is not who ASU is playing?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of been, it's more that way, I think, in the volleyball schedule. I think it's been a little bit more travel partnery than it, and it has been to an extent in soccer a little bit, but not as much, because you got to throw in, you're always going to maybe have that one Far East game, and then you're going to come back and play somewhere in between. But yeah, it's a little bit weird to not have it set up that way across the board.
There was never a question if you're playing Wazoo and ASU's playing Washington, right? I mean, that's the way it's always been.
That's kind of the way our thought process went for the last 30 plus years, but not so much anymore.
You know, it's hard. It's tough to complain when you look across. How many teams does the Big Ten have right now? 18, 16, 18?
Yeah, 18 maybe.
More than you have
I don't know.
can do a round robin, right?
Too many teams.
The more bloated these conferences become, the harder it is for everybody to be able to play each other in some kind of equal merit, right?
Yeah.
So we used to love the Pac-10 because it was very simple. 18 games, DK. You can't play yourself. So you play the other 9 teams twice. It's such an even round number. It's not so much the geographical issues with the new Big 12 conference. It's just the sheer number of schools that have been invited to some of these conferences. It's just impossible logistically to get everybody to play each other because you got non-conference games as well.
18 teams in the Big Ten. The 2 new LA schools are combined 1-5 in conference play. The 2 northern schools, Washington and Oregon, are combined 4-1. So it has been a much better transition for the 2 teams from the Pac-12 North in Oregon, Washington, than it has for the 2 LA schools from the Pac-12 South. SC went on the road and got beat by Minnesota. Yikes. Over the weekend. That's not good. Not good in the least. It's interesting. Some interesting news. So we've still got the WNBA season going on, even though we have not spoken about it lately because the Mercury were quickly dispatched out of the tournament. But we've got Game 5 tonight of the second semifinal. It doesn't really go Eastern Conference, Western Conference. It's a seeded thing. So the Connecticut Sun are playing the Minnesota Lynx in a decisive Game 5 tonight for the right to play the New York Liberty in the championship, which will be forthcoming. That game is just underway. The Sun leading early by a score of 72. The Liberty eliminated the defending champion, the 2-time defending champion, Las Vegas Aces, in their series, 3-1. Obviously, Caitlin Clark led Indiana to the playoffs for the first time in, 6 years. They were dispatched quickly in 2 games. And afterward, Caitlin talked about her plans for the offseason and what she wanted to do.
Maybe play some golf. I think that's what I'm going to do until it gets too cold in Indiana. So I'll become a professional golfer.
So she's going to play some golf, and it may already be cold in Indiana. I don't know, because we were watching that.
Isn't it always cold in Indiana?
We were watching that Cleveland game yesterday, and it looked like them folks were pretty cold there. I mean, it doesn't stay warm too much into October in that part of the country, and that maybe she joked that maybe she would become a professional golfer, but maybe not so much of a joke. She's actually going to play in a pretty famous Pro-Am, J-Dub, coming up.
Yeah, a Pro-Am with a name some people around these parts may remember. She's playing in The Annika is the name of the tournament. The Annika is what it's called, yes.
You know you got some pull when they just put a "the" in front of your name on a tournament.
Yeah, and she seems a bit over the moon. She said, quote, "I love golf, so the opportunity to play in the Pro-Am for this tournament with a legend like Annika Sorenstam's name on it is so exciting," Clark said. "I'm looking forward to seeing all the LPGA players on the driving range, being part of the Women's Leadership Summit, and, of course, teeing it up at the Pro-Am with Annika." So she seems to be very excited to be with such a celebrity as Annika Sorenstam.
Absolutely. I mean, Annika Sorenstam, groundbreaking women's golfer, one of the best ever, if not the best ever, to play the game. And I'm sure that's a name that Caitlin Clark heard about growing up, and an opportunity to spread her wings and, like she mentioned, be involved in that summit, which is everything that they'll do to try to continue to push women's sports to the forefront. You want your best and brightest involved in those types of scenarios, and good to see Caitlin Clark getting that opportunity.
Yeah, and clearly she's a bit at the eye of the storm, like as far as the popularity boost. I mean, you talk about the ratings kind of plummeting a bit and falling off a cliff after Indiana was eliminated. It's just because a lot of the newer fans, they found their Steph Curry, for lack of a better example, someone who's so skill-based and so exciting to watch. And Caitlin breaking, Pete Maravich's record in college, going on to be the Rookie of the Year, setting all kinds of records. Clearly the swell of popularity for her. And the other side of that coin is the backlash of some dumb racist stuff, right? In all of that feud between her and Angel Reese. So being at a leadership summit and being amongst some of the people who laid groundwork, some of the people who have been involved in that leadership summit for so many years, DK, having some of those younger players who are now in the middle of all of that, because the internet's a thing and social media is a thing. And that's where they are, where people who maybe are in their 50s and 60s and retired never had to live through any of that stuff. So getting advice of how to deal with, the negativity of attention as well, and also being a part of trying to inspire the next generation. Clearly, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, a lot of these younger female basketball players in particular have such a huge responsibility in a lot of ways to the sport because so many eyeballs are on them and watching their actions.
We had a chance earlier in the show to chat with Riata Danoff, cross-country runner from Pima College. And tonight in Tucson, the Pima soccer teams will be in action up on the West Campus field. 6 o'clock, the men will play Mesa. Always a big rivalry between Pima and Mesa. The ladies will take to the turf at 8 o'clock. So head on up to West Anklam Road, or up West Anklam Road, I should say, to Pima College tonight for the Aztec soccer teams as they will do battle against Mesa, beginning with the men's match at 6 o'clock. Ladies to follow at 8 o'clock. We're going to talk some Arizona Wildcats football. Straight ahead, Wildcat Breakdown with Glenn Howe.
Real quick, DK, there is a segue between, you talked about USC Trojans struggling a bit in football, and then you talk about WNBA. Did you hear what happened today? Juju signed an extension with Nike. She got the biggest contract in women's history. Yeah, so Juju, who is the preseason favorite, obviously, for Player of the Year in women's college basketball, the Trojans signed a Nike extension, making her the highest paid female athlete in college. Yeah.
There you go. Juju Watkins getting that big money as she deserves it for sure. A star, just a sophomore, heading into her sophomore season there with Lindsey Gottlieb and the women of Troy.
Second most points ever scored by a freshman in women's college basketball history.
Game 3 is over in Queens, so David Amata joins us. So I'm sure your father is jumping up and down on the couch at home because his Mets got the win today.
He's jumping up and down at the moment, but I know as soon as this 5-minute excitement is gone, he's like, okay, now we got to win game 4. We can't let it go to game 5. We have to. Because he said the same thing against the Brewers after they took game 1. They're like, we got to win game 2. Otherwise, we're not going to win the series at all. Turns out they end up winning game 3 of the wild card. Now I know for sure he's going to be home. We got to win game 4. We can't let it go back to Philly. Can't let it go back to Philly.
Want to go back to Philadelphia for sure. 7-2, the final in this ball game today. The Mets were able to really jump out on the Phillies, and in the middle of innings, they took an early 2-0 lead and then kind of salted it away with a couple of runs in the 6th, the 7th, and another run in the 8th inning. Pete Alonso hit a home run, another home run, had the big home run, obviously, that helped them to win in the last round against Milwaukee. Jesse Winker, not really known for his home runs, but he hit one today.
He had one so pretty. Ooh, man, that one was pretty to watch.
And big 2-run double, RBI double late by Francisco Lindor to back some nice pitching there. Sean Manaea, 7 strong innings as the starter, struck out 6 for the Mets, and they are 1 win away from the NLCS.
And one thing about Pete Alonso, real quick, not a guy that that have a lot of opposite field power, but all 3 of his homers have been to the opposite side of the field.
There you go. Maybe he's starting to figure it out in his old age that, hey, my power works just as well to the other way as it is when I try to pull it.
There you go.
That's going to – so what do you think is going to happen there? Is he gone?
With this run, they're gonna re-sign him.
Oh,
absolutely.
So?
I think that I think that Mr. Cohen knows from the last time the Mets fans had a great home run hitter in the postseason and didn't sign him in one Daniel Murphy, and the fans were irate about the decision. I think this time it's like, no, we know this guy's an important part of the lineup. We need to bring him back. Hopefully not for all the money because they still got a lot of work they need to do in that pitching staff, but I still think Pete Alonso ends up staying as a Met.
We'll see. That'll be interesting. I was not sure. I think, again, there's a lot of conjecture that this is the final stages of his life in a New York Mets uniform. He's going to be obviously one of the top free agents on the market, but if they can get a deal, you definitely want to try to keep a guy like that around. All right, so we were talking hockey the first time you were in here, Dragon Ball, and the first game went final today, and it goes in favor of the St. Louis Blues by a score of 3-2. They've kind of fallen off a little bit since they won their Stanley Cup and had all the excitement with Glory and all that a few years ago.
I think that they were a squad that definitely bought in for 1 year, and then after that, everybody kind of had to take off and go to greener pastures in regards to the money. Very similar to what happened with the Nationals winning the World Series a couple years ago.
Right.
They had that one great run, and then everybody said, okay, you need to get paid, you go somewhere else. You get paid, you stay here, but then all the rest of you need to go somewhere else because we can't afford all of you.
So if it's a flash sale when the Marlins decide they want to gut their whole roster every 4 years, like what's it when the players decide they're all going to just split ways? What's the player flash sale?
I think at that point it's just all right. Deuces. We got our ring. We got our ring, and now we're going down to get the green. We got the bling, and now we get the green. That's the whole thing behind that. And hey, there's one thing that really gets you a very good argument on the negotiation table, and that's a championship ring.
Our 5-star play on this game and currently in progress, Boston and Florida, was the over on 5.5 goals. First period, and it's already 3-1. So we're already at 4 goals between Florida and the Boston Bruins. The Panthers have, I spoke too soon. Sam Bennett has just scored again. Sam Bennett has 2 goals in the first period, and it is now 4-1.
There you go.
Florida. So we're already at 5. And the over-under, the play was over 5.5 for the game on this. That was our 5-star BetQL play today. So it looks like we might. Hey, there's still 4 seconds left. Who knows? We might be able to beat that over in the first period alone.
If you're gonna try to score from the face-off with an empty netter, I don't know about that.
It's like they always say, when the hockey season starts, the offenses are always ahead of the defense.
Oh, yeah.
Well, apparently, Jesus, 5 goals in the first period. All right. We'll see how quickly that turns to 6. All right. Dragon Ball getting you home every 20 minutes on the 5s, filling in for Cricket.
And from the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together. Again, accident with injuries reported over at West Valencia Road and South Midvale Park Road. Slowdowns right now at West Valencia. Try to avoid that intersection if you can. Also, we got a possible injury with another accident over at Star Pass Boulevard. This slowing things down both going to and from Star Pass for the rest of your afternoon. Sitting at 99 degrees right now. We're going to get to the mid-80s tonight. We're finally out of the triple digits for the day, folks. So good news on that front. I'm Dragon Ball with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together.
This report is sponsored by ExpressPros.com. If your supply chain demands a flexible workforce, hire with Express Employment Professionals. With contract and full-time workers from Express Employment, you get the staff you need and manage contingent labor costs. Learn more at ExpressPros.com. That's ExpressPros.com.
What makes 1290 different than any other radio station in Tucson? 1290 is the home of the Arizona Wildcats, the NFL, and the Super Bowl. Winner! This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
The garage is more than a place to park your car. It holds prized possessions, and for most, it's a bustling entryway to the home. That's why LiftMaster designed the first ever opener with a built-in wide-angle camera and two-way audio, so you can see what matters and secure what's inside. Ensure your family and prized possessions are secure with a reliable garage door opener that's built to last and powered by MyQ for smartphone control. The team at Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates are your locally owned LiftMaster professionals. Visit KaiserGarage.com to learn more.
Is he okay?
Ron, did you get hit on the head?
What? Oh, no. I was just reminiscing. Here comes a story. I was 5 or 6. A scruffy little ragamuffin I was.
A scruffy? What are you, Charles Dickens?
Mama just wanted to comfort me.
Mama?
Comfort. It's why we started Alaskan AC, you know?
We know.
I was being a fuss budget. Golly, I was a scoundrel.
Get to the point.
These were the early days at Alaskan AC, see?
See.
It's a fun place to work at Alaskan AC.
Ron.
We don't take ourselves too seriously.
We literally just came up with the new Alaskan AC jingle last month.
What? Who's that? Who's there? Is it you, Mama?
Oh, boy.
Yes, Ronnie, it's Mama.
Did your little Ron Bon make you proud?
Every day, dear.
Why did I even come to work today?
Because...
It's a fun place to work at Alaskan AC. We don't take ourselves too seriously.
AlaskanAC.com.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-8695. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-8695. That's 800-575-8695.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out.
Mark, you're late. We agreed we'd meet at the gym.
Sorry, I just don't have the energy I did a few years ago.
Could be low testosterone.
Low testosterone?
It happens, especially after 40. I was feeling the same way, so I started taking clomiphene from Zelfie. It helps boost testosterone and made a huge difference for me.
I thought testosterone replacement therapies had risks.
And clomiphene isn't testosterone replacement therapy. There's no injections. It's a simple daily pill that boosts your body's natural production of testosterone.
This helps you?
Enclomiphene can double your testosterone levels. Since taking it, I'm building lean muscle. I'm also sleeping better, plus other benefits in the bedroom. It's easy to try. Plus, send them a text right now and get 40% off.
Text BOOST to 200-300 to find out if you qualify for enclomiphene from Zelfie. Don't wait. Text BOOST to 200-300 right now and get 40% off. Enclomiphene can double your testosterone levels, and it's 100% online and shipped directly to your door. Text BOOST to 200-300. That's BOOST to 200-300.
Wildcats Radio 1290 is everywhere. You can now hear us on our free app from the App and Google Play Store, streaming on WildcatsRadio1290.com, iHeartRadio and Odyssey app, and even on 1290 AM. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Westwood One presents Today in Women's Sports. The Connecticut Sun and the Minnesota Lynx will play the decisive Game 5 of their semifinal series tonight. Connecticut kept their season alive on Sunday with a 92-82 home win in Game 4. But head coach Stephanie White and her squad have to go on the road for the winner-take-all battle.
At this point, you know each other inside and out. It's about players making plays. It's about not being denied and finding something deep inside of you that just allows you to come out on top.
Minnesota superstar Nafisha Collier led her team in Sunday's loss with 29 points and 13 rebounds. Now Collier and the Lynx will try to clinch a finals berth on their home floor.
Obviously, we wish we didn't have to go home for that game, but since we are, it's really nice to have that home court advantage. We love playing at home. We love playing in front of our fans, and so we have to go there and defend our home.
The winner of tonight's game will take on the New York Liberty in the WNBA Finals. With Today in Women's Sports, I'm Amber Theo Harris.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you're always looking for ways to position your operation to create opportunities and move on them faster. With Bank of America, you get access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America N.A.
1 in 4 Americans have a disability. I'm one of them. I'm also a working mom who cares deeply about making sure every child with a disability thrives by getting their access needs met. We've got a trusted ally by our side. Easter Seals provides children and families the foundation for lifelong success through early learning programs, skills training, and prep for college and career. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Join us at easterseals.com.
You don't have to keep living with that joint pain. Real lasting relief is possible with the help of QC Kinetics. People here are getting their lives back, getting their mobility back thanks to QC Kinetics. Hey, everybody, it's David Kelly here on Wildcats Radio 1290. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in cellular therapies. that can revitalize your joints. I'm talking about advanced regenerative medicine using your own body's healing properties, highly concentrated and carefully placed into those achy joints. Back pain, shoulder pain, knee pain. These are cutting-edge treatments that require no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. It's a quick in-office procedure that can get you moving again. These protocols have been developed by medical professionals and under the leadership of Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, a former orthopedic surgeon and a pioneer in clinical regenerative medicine. Listen, is arthritic joint pain keeping you from doing the things you love? Playing with your kids, your grandkids, pain in your knees, your hip, your back, your shoulder? You owe it to yourself to learn more. Call QC Kinetics today for that free consultation. There's 2 locations here in Southern Arizona. One of them is off of Academy. The other is off of Orange Grove. QC Kinetics. Call them now, 520-497-4955. 520-497-4955. QC Kinetics. Call them now, 520-497-4955.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290. It's the Wildcat Hour, which means it's time for our Arizona Insiders.
Am I late? No, my boy, you're just in time.
Each weekday, Wildcats Radio 1290 brings you all the latest news and opinions of U of A football and the Big 12. So bear down, Wildcat Nation, and let's talk Arizona football. Our Arizona Insiders are brought to you by Coors Light, an official corporate sponsor of Arizona Athletics. Coors Light. Choose chill.
Breaking down Arizona Wildcats football, joined as always by my man Glenn Howell, U of A football class of 1985. Arizona falls to Texas Tech, 28-22 at home after an upset on the road at number 10 Utah. And the offense did not look like what we continue to want it to look like. And so, Glenn, after watching the tape, there's a couple things that stand out to me in terms of this passing game. One, I don't think they're giving Noah Fafita enough short routes to get him comfortable in this passing game. It seems like a lot of these routes that we're seeing, especially on some of like the, 2nd and 5s and 3rd and 6s, you got guys running 5 yards past the first down marker. And then if you're giving him a short route, that guy is like 5 yards in front of the marker, which is not necessarily going to be a good choice to get you a first down. I'm not seeing a lot of routes run right at the stick on a lot of these third downs. That's the first issue I have with what I'm seeing of this Arizona Wildcats offense.
Well, Dave, thanks for having me on. One of the things that really I looked at this film, and this is one of those games is like, are you kidding me? We lost this game. The mistakes that we made, the things that we made, this team was, I'm sorry, I just don't think this team was better than us. I think that we just made some crucial mistakes. And if you look at the stats of everything that we probably wanted to do, okay, we wanted to run the ball a little bit. We had 121 yards on the ground. We wanted time of possession. We almost had 13 minutes more of time possession to keep that offense off the field. We didn't score when we were in close to the end zone. Not necessarily in the red zone, but in close to the end zone. And then the picks that killed us. I mean, just those kinds of things. And it was 28-22. And you look at that game and you like just, I mean, I would grow hair because I don't have hair, but I would grow hair thinking about this game. It's one of those games that those guys are going to look at and say, and if I was a coach, I'd say, guys, we should have never lost this game. We clean up some stuff. And I know Brent has been saying a lot of stuff about cleaning up. And they've been looking like Mr. Clean. Okay. They got to clean up some stuff, and I think they'll be successful. But this game was just a game that we just didn't execute very well, and we got to do that better.
Yeah, 4 of 16 on the conversion downs, 3rd and 4th downs. you're gonna have trouble winning big ball games. Like we saw early in the season, they struggled in one of the games in that respect, and they were still able to win. But against Power 5 teams, you're gonna have trouble winning those types of game. And you mentioned the interceptions, and my issue that I just talked about, it's twofold. It's one, as I mentioned, I don't think they're giving Noah a lot of short intermediate routes to try to move the chains with. But the other thing is that when they do give him those routes, he's got to be able to see those routes and take those routes. And you look at the interception that he threw in the end zone, he had two options in front of it. Yeah, he had two options in the middle. He had a dump down to Qualley, which if he gives that ball to Qualley there, Qualley probably runs to the 5-yard line because there was nobody near him. And then he had Olsen coming across a little bit deeper down around the 10-yard line. So, yeah, it's one thing that when they are giving him, they aren't giving him enough of those routes. But then when they are giving him those routes, he's got to be able to take advantage of them.
Absolutely. He's just got to be able to pan the field a little bit better. I think it's real important for him to understand the progression from the bottom up. I think I don't know if his progression is left to right or bottom up. The short routes. So he's got to get better on that. He's got to get better because he is definitely missing some receivers. And you know what? He's got to work on that in practice, and and the coach has got to notice it every time he doesn't do it, and really get on him and make sure that he's being just conscious of that. And and the other thing I think is that what they're doing with they're rushing him. The guys are staying in their lanes. They're not giving him passing lanes because of his height. Before, he was you notice when he would step up into the pocket, there would be, guys would be pushed out to the side and he'd have an open field to throw to. Now these guys are getting really strict on their rushing lanes and making sure that he doesn't have any passing lanes. And you got to be really disciplined on that. And a lot of the teams are looking at our film and saying, you know what, we can stop this kid by doing that.
Chatting with Glenn Howe, it is Wildcat Breakdown. He's our Arizona Insider, brought to you by Coors Light. Coors Light, choose chill. Coors Light is an official corporate sponsor of Arizona Athletics. Glenn, they were rotating the guards on offense in that game on Saturday night. We saw a lineup that included Ryan Stewart and Wendell Moy, and then at times we saw the lineup that included Alexander Dust, and then the transfer from New Mexico, who we like to refer to as Shenko. What do you make of that when they're rolling in different guards for different sets?
I don't really like that. I really don't. I like a steady diet myself, I like a steady diet because then, you can't get in rhythm with your tackle, I used to, when I played offensive line in JC, and a little bit at the U of A, I would love to know when I was playing with next to, Charlie Dickey, that was great because I knew exactly what he was doing. I knew how his steps, where his punch was going to be, all those different things, and I could rely on him. It's kind of difficult, and I think they're trying to find out who's the guy, and they're going to probably find out pretty soon, and I don't think they're going to change. And that's what they usually do. They're just really finding out who's the guy and who's going to be consistent, and they got to go with it because I think consistency's got to be the thing that for that offensive line for them to be successful.
Yeah, it's very interesting. We saw pretty much, the Wildcats, they ran a high number of plays in that game over the weekend. I think they had 82 offensive plays. We saw Alexander Dust in there for the majority of those. Ryan Stewart, though, came in for about 29 of those, as we mentioned, and Shenko was also in there for a few of those plays as well. It's just interesting. We don't usually see interior linemen rotated to the point that we saw in that particular ball game. In terms of,
and
go ahead.
I was just saying, as in terms of like what you're going to say, in terms of plays, just think of that. We had 20 more plays than they did. And that's that really just got to be frustrating the coaches, man, and the players. They had 58 plays. We had 79. You know?
Well, I got 82. I got 82.
The official stat I got here is 79 and 58. I mean, like, that is just, I mean, they got to be just killing themselves for saying that they lost this ball game.
Yeah, I mean, it's, again, that's when you run that many more plays. But that just goes to show you, I mean, you got down to the red zone. You were putting some drives together. We talked about that Saturday night. They were putting some consistent 5 to 8 play drives together. They just weren't able to finish those. And actually, I'll correct myself. It wasn't Schenko that was in there. I thought that was Schenko. It was Joey Capra. Actually, I think he was the transfer from Nevada. That was the one that was rotating in there at the guard position. So Joey Capra getting his first snaps as an Arizona Wildcat in that game on Saturday. All right, we'll talk a little bit more about the defense when we return. It is Wildcat Breakdown. Our Arizona insider, Glenn Howe, brought to you by Coors Light. Coors Light, choose chill. We also are getting you home every 20 minutes on the fives. In for cricket to do that is none other than Dragon Ball.
Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. You got an incident over at West McGee Road and North Oracle Road. Right now, the slowdown at Oracle stopping in both directions, north and southbound. Try to avoid that. Accident, possible injuries over at West Miracle Mile and Flowing Wells, with Flowing Wells having the stoppages there. As for the weather, we're finally out of the 100-degree temperatures, and we're going to cool down to the mid-80s tonight. I'm Dragon Ball with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by ChumbaCasino.com. It's time to experience the thrill of the Chumba life at ChumbaCasino.com. It's free to play. Play for fun and no purchases necessary. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions.
Join David Kelly, Kelvin Yvonne, and Glenn Howe at Corbett's this Saturday from 8:30 a.m. for the Arizona Game Day pregame show as we get ready for Arizona versus BYU. Sponsored by Coors Light. Choose Chill, official corporate sponsor of Arizona Athletics.
Hey, Wildcat fans, Arizona football is here. Catch head coach Brent Brennan as the Wildcats enter their inaugural season of the Big 12 Conference. We need you to be part of the action, filling the stands and cheering on Arizona. Secure your seats for all 7 home games with season tickets, or pick the plan that is best for you by calling the ticket office at 520-621-2287 or visiting ArizonaWildcats.com/FB. Lock in your tickets today. We'll see you at Arizona Stadium. Bear down. Go Cats.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
Mark, you're late. We agreed we'd meet at the gym.
Sorry, I just don't have the energy I did a few years ago.
Could be low testosterone.
Low testosterone?
It happens, especially after 40. I was feeling the same way, so I started taking clomiphene from Zelfie. It helps boost testosterone and made a huge difference for me.
I thought testosterone replacement therapies had risks.
And clomiphene isn't testosterone replacement therapy. There's no injections. It's a simple daily pill that boosts your body's natural production of testosterone.
This helps you?
And clomiphene can double your testosterone levels. Since taking it, I'm building lean muscle. I'm also sleeping better, plus other benefits in the bedroom. It's easy to try. Plus, send them a text right now and get 40% off.
Text BOOST to 200-300 to find out if you qualify for enclomiphene from Zelfie. Don't wait. Text BOOST to 200-300 right now and get 40% off. Enclomiphene can double your testosterone levels, and it's 100% online and shipped directly to your door. Text BOOST to 200-300. That's BOOST to 200-300.
Bingo. All right, Bill, we're recording now. And please put your phone on silent.
Oh, where is my phone?
Let's go, man. Okay. Get it together over there, player. Go ahead. Pick on me the way that you want to.
I wouldn't say that to my son.
Just go.
All right, why would people want to listen to the Sims Complete podcast?
A father-son dynamic duo talking about the game of football.
We do a lot of quarterback and coach talks. It's fun. I love doing this. It's been awesome.
Sims Complete. Check us out on the Believe Network. Appreciate it.
Just search Believe, BLEAV, wherever you listen.
Did you miss the big game? We got you covered.
Handoff will go to Hubbard in the end zone, and he's tackled for the safety.
Let's go, Arizona! Brent Brennan in the middle of it, jumping around. You know, wins are hard to get, and you got to celebrate them when you get them. I I love this.
Yeah.
If the coaches ain't
Yeah.
excited about what's going on and can't get up for the game, then they shouldn't be over there.
DK on the Sports Tip, 3 to 6 weekdays.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
This is Zach Gelb with Sports Minute, sponsored by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Please gamble responsibly. Injuries, drama, coaches getting fired, and a star player running the entire organization. Are we talking about Kevin Durant's time with the Nets or Aaron Rodgers' year-and-a-half mess with the Jets? Sure, KD won a playoff series, but he was a failure as a Net, and Aaron may never make the playoffs with the Jets, let alone win a playoff game. What I'm seeing right now with Rodgers gives me flashbacks to KD's time in Brooklyn. I'm Zach Gelb.
Arizona football fans, picture this. You bet on your favorite player to score the first touchdown, and he throws an awesome block so his teammate can score instead. If this happens, BetMGM wants to give you another chance at the end zone. With BetMGM's second chance promotion, you'll get your stake back if your first touchdown scorer scores second instead. That's right. Bet on any pro football player to score the first touchdown of the game. If you're right, you win. If your player scores second, you get your stake back in cash. Everyone knows the most exciting part of football is the score. With BetMGM's second chance promotion, you have a chance to keep the fun going after the first player crosses the goal line. Place a first touchdown scorer wager today. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 21 years of age or older to wager. Arizona only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards vary. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290, breaking down Arizona Wildcats football, joined by Glenn Howe, U of A football class of 1985, the tight end. And Glenn, let's dive into some of our takeaways from the defense's performance. Another very solid game for Dwayne Akina's crew. And I think the thing that really kind of stands out is some of the stunting they're doing up front now, allowing really it's coming from the edges, but it's allowing the guys in the middle to continue to make plays. We've seen, obviously, Trey Smith be able to get some pressure from the outside, and Stanley Tuofo with sacks now in back-to-back games. That's a name that obviously we didn't figure that we'd be saying a lot of. But he has really become a guy that solidified that defensive middle down front with the injury to the likes of Chuba Maye.
Well, I'll tell you what, just the discipline on the rush, that's what they've gotten better. They have set the edge. They're making sure guys can't. I don't think that quarterback got outside one time the game.
No,
I don't remember him getting outside and scrambling to get outside. And that's the key for these guys, because you set the edge and you make sure that, the guys at the end that don't get outside contained, then you can get a backside sack because that guy has nowhere to go. And then if you have push from the front, which we've been getting, then you get sacks from underneath. So it's been very good discipline by these guys, and I'm excited about the way they're playing.
When I thought last year that Jacob Manu was really starting to elevate his game was late in the season when we started to see him show up in pass coverage. And we saw him in pass coverage a number of times in that game where he was getting the right drops, getting into the passing lanes, and getting his hands on footballs, getting some deflection we talked about all the pass breakups the week before, but when you see a linebacker getting those, that's when you know that a guy like Jacob Manu is playing at a high level.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what he's been silently playing better. Okay, you're not hearing a lot about him, but you can see it on the film that he's playing better. And the other guys, with him doing his job, it's just about doing your job. You do your job, other guys are going to get some plays, and sometimes you're going to get some plays. So the discipline that they've been showing in the last couple of weeks has been really good.
Genesis Smith, obviously he's going to be a guy that we're going to be leaning on a lot moving forward with the injuries to Gunnar Maldonado and Traden Stukes. I love the way that he reacts to the football. I mean, his ability to break, he's almost got cornerback skills playing in that safety position. I know we need him at the safety position, but I wouldn't be surprised at some point down the road if we maybe see him in a cornerback spot, because I think he's got the cover skills and he certainly's got the ball skills to play on the boundary if they ever decided they wanted to put him out there.
Yeah, Genesis is a great athlete. He's got great hips. He can turn his hips, so you can put him at the corner spot. And, we're going to need some help at that safety position. And then I like him. He can be in the box too. So he can come up in the alley. He can do all those things that we need to have done by a multiple position guy. I think he can do all of it.
Do you, though, when you mention him in the box, though, do you have to be careful now with him in that respect with the losses of Maldonado and Stukes? I mean, if you ask him to do a whole lot of in the box tackling, now you risk, being really cutting your forces down if potentially he goes out down the line too. Is that something maybe you get somebody else? Obviously, Dalton is more your in the box guy. Dalton Johnson, Owen Goss is maybe a little bit more built for that type of role as well. And you try to maybe keep Genesis Smith out of the fray and on the back end more in coverage than trying to throw him down there in the box. Mixing it up with the linemen and trying to make a whole lot of tackles.
Dave, I'm in the old school. You got to play the guys that's going to get the job done. That's what you got to do. And then, you got to be able to avoid blocks. You got to be able to take care of yourself. Football is a contact sport. You're going to be physical. You got to just, if you're really physical the right way, you're not going to get hurt. There's all kinds of ways you can really work and do it. Make sure your technique is right on your tackling. Make sure your technique is taking on a block. You're doing the right thing. All those kinds of things. But you can't play guys to say, "Well, I don't want to get them hurt." You don't want to do that. You just don't want to do that.
Well, speaking of guys that were putting their nose into the run game, I thought Takario did a really good job of that. In this game, aggressive to the ball when it was on the ground. And that's one of the things that they talked about with him is being more physical in the run game. I think we're starting to see that from him. He did give up a couple long passes that I still think he needs to get better in that respect. But beginning to see more of a complete corner in Takario Davis as these games go on.
Yeah, and he is, man. I mean, you're going to get beat. Mike Haynes used to get beat, okay? There's guys that the great, Lester Hayes, all the, the great corners, all of them got beat. Everybody gets beat. It's just how do you respond to that? How do you respond? You got to have a short memory, and you got to be able to continue to get better every single time. You learn from every time you've gotten beat. That's what you do. Those are the great players that do that. They learn from every time. So if he continues to get better, he's got to turn his head a little bit on that one play. He turned his head the wrong way, and he couldn't get his hands up, to deflect that thing. So he's got to learn how to do that, and pick up the ball, and then maybe that next time that's a pick.
And it looked like that play in the first half when they went down to get their first touchdown. Looked like he thought he was going to have help from Genesis in the middle, but Genesis kind of broke on the sideline route, and he just kind of let that receiver get away from him there.
Yeah, and that's communication. Communication. You got to have, game is not – there's not too many guys, I don't think, that are going to get 100% on a grade in a football game, okay? There's not too many guys. So, there's going to be mistakes, but what kind of mistakes and what time is the mistake? when is the mistake happening? Is it a crucial time of the game, or is it a time where you're just, that we can move on and go to the next? Those are the ones that you got to cut down on, the ones that are going to be a crucial time in the game. So you got to expect mistakes, but hey, you can't do them at the crucial time of the game.
All right, Glenn, we'll see you at Corbett's bright and early, 8:30 in the morning on Saturday.
We get steak and eggs in the morning or what?
I haven't seen their breakfast menu. I'll have to find out.
I don't know. I was going to say, we come. I might be there at 7:30. Just steak and eggs.
Get there an hour early and get your breakfast in. There you go. I think they'll be there at 7, so there might be some food at 7:30. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, because, all right, we might have to get steak and eggs. I might bring a porterhouse.
There you go. There you go. Glenn Howe.
Bear down, guys.
Thanks to Coors Light for bringing you today's Arizona Insiders on Wildcats Radio 1290. Coors Light is an official corporate sponsor of Arizona Athletics. Choose chill. And now, the best thing you will hear all day.
Hachi-machi!
It's time for the Wildcat Radio Replay. In case you missed this earlier in the day, we now bring you the best of 1290. It's made possible by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
Did you know that Sean Miller has a podcast? It's called the Sean Miller Pod, the former coach of your Arizona Wildcats. Well, one of his recent guests on that podcast was none other than his former point guard here at the University of Arizona, TJ McConnell. TJ, who signed a contract extension this past summer with the Indiana Pacers. He'll be entering his 10th season, and I believe the rule is he only has to play one game, and he is eligible for Ring of Honor at McHale Center, because 10 seasons, or you need to only play in 10 seasons, and this will be season number 10 coming up for TJ McConnell. And he was on Sean Miller's podcast talking about the key to longevity in the NBA for himself.
I'll start with this, and then I'll go to my routine in Pittsburgh. I think another thing for me is that for young players, this is both for young players, is there was a guy by the name of Chris Babcock that said, you have to do something that stands out, because this is the NBA. And when I was there, picking up full court wasn't a thing that people did. So to me, I said, I have to stand out somehow. I'm not going to be a 20-point per game scorer, get a 10 assists a game, but I'm going to pick up full court and make people work and stand out like that. And it's stuff like that that catches, scouts, front offices, coaches' attention. And that's something that I really honed in on and made a name for myself, a calling card, because people expect it from me now. And to piggyback off that, going back home to Pittsburgh, you see all these guys that kind of want to add things to their quote unquote bag. And to me, honestly, what you're good at. I think it's a waste of time if you're going home doing stuff that you will never do in a game.
Amen.
And to me, I know what I do well. My motor is my superpower. So I'm going to run every single day and stay in elite shape, because I know that's what separates me from a lot of players. And I'm not a guy that's going to come off and shoot 6-8 threes a game. But when I'm open on catch and shoot threes in some unders, I'm going to shoot those. So that's what I do when I'm home. I'll get my hands, I'll do ball handling. I'll lift every day. But for the most part, like I said, I'll shoot the spot up threes, and I'm regimented for how many I make. I'm making 20 a spot, for an hour, and just go and keep going. And I'm simulating people going under. I mean, you just need a rebounder. That's it. And you put a cone there, you simulate a ball screen, they went under it, you shoot it. But to me, I would be doing myself a disservice if I didn't keep my motor and myself in elite shape, because I think that's what separates.
That was the Wildcat Radio Replay with the best of the best from 1290. It's brought to you by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
Real quick on that, J-Dub, thoughts?
Well, I mean, look, the NBA's been a specialization league now going on 25, 30 years, and there might be a lot of people in the NBA who think that they're superstars, DK, but there's really only 10 guys who can do everything for their team. Everybody else has to fill that niche. So whatever you're great at, I love that TJ knows exactly what he is and who he brings. The key, what he said there is at the end. You have to be able to shoot in the modern NBA. It's spread out. It's 5-out sets. It's all about finding space and finding open shooters. So if you're a great on-ball defender, if you're a pesk, if you pick up full court, during the offseason, if you're working on your inside-out Tim Hardaway double crossover stuff, come on, just knock down open shots. You already are getting minutes for that one great thing that you're great at. Just continue to work on your shot, and you're going to have longevity in the NBA as long as you keep your, elite conditioning is the other part of what he said right there, DK. You can't run around like TJ unless you've got good wind. You know how to breathe when you're running. Let's put it that way.
All right, that's going to wrap up our show for today. Tomorrow, we'll tell you where we're going to be on Friday night because it's almost Friday night and high school football's on the horizon. Thanks to Rietta Danoff. Thanks to Glenn Howe for JW Madden and Dragon Ball. My name is David Kelly. That's our time for tonight. Thank you very much for your time. It's DK on the Sports Tip. We'll talk to you tomorrow, 3 o'clock, right here on Wildcats Radio, 1290.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together. Update about that West Valencia Midvale Park crash. Valencia starting to open back up, but Midvale still a little bit of slowdown going towards the intersection there. As for West Miracle Mile and Flowing Wells, no movement right now on Flowing Wells going into that intersection, and westbound Miracle Mile starting to slow down as well. Now in the mid-90s, we're going to cool down to the mid-80s later on tonight. I'm Dragon Ball with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Was your AC struggling to keep up this summer? We all know what happens to a car if it doesn't get a regular oil change. Your air conditioner is no different.